Chapter 842. Su Yiyen's expression changed again. This person really came prepared today. Every word he said made her speechless. He told her that he knew everything about the two of them and that all her lies and excuses were useless against him. No matter what you say today, the result will not change. Su Yiyen gritted her teeth in anger. She felt powerless when the right to speak was in the hands of the other party. Perhaps, our first impression of each other is not very good. But now, and even in the future, I hope that we can become friends, not friends who use each other as tools or partners. I don't think we can be friends. Su Yiyen did not have many friends, but it was not like she did not have any. Someone like Do Tianyi, who seemed to be sincere in befriending her, was actually high and mighty from the beginning to the end. He talked about befriending her as if it was a transaction. Su Yiyen knew that she could not afford to be friends with him. Do Tianyi's expression did not change. He only looked at Su Yiyen with a smile. It's always better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Believe me, whether it's you or your husband, you don't want to have an enemy like me. Su Yiyen was stunned. Her eyes suddenly turned cold. Are you threatening me? A wolf will always be a wolf. It will never turn into a dog, let alone a cat. Even if it was wearing sheep's skin, it would sooner or later show its claws and mercilessly tear you to pieces. I'm just stating the facts. After all, there's nothing a person can't do when they're about to die. Compared to me, a lonely person with chronic illness, Miss Su should have more concerns in this world than I do. As the saying goes, a barefooted person is not afraid of wearing shoes. If it really came to this point, who knew what he would do? This was also one of the main reasons why some people who were diagnosed with terminal illnesses and had a twisted mentality suddenly came to the newspaper. I'm about to die, so why are you still living so well? Since that's the case, let's all die together. If I can drag a few people down with me, it's my gain. It was because of this extremely twisted mentality that so many tragedies were caused. It made people realize how terrible this kind of person was. At that moment, Su Yiyen's anger finally reached its peak. This man, how dare he? How dare he use her family as a threat, how dare he? Do Tianyi saw the anger in Su Yiyen's eyes. The corners of his lips curled up slightly, but he did not continue to be aggressive. I hope that Miss Su will consider what I just said. It's getting late, so I won't continue to disturb Miss Su's work. Do Tianyi said as he gave Li Yu a look. Li Yu immediately understood and stepped forward to hand over a business card. This is my business card. If Miss Su changes her mind, you can contact me at any time. Of course, if time passes, I will come back to look for Miss Su again. There will be plenty of time in the future. Su Yiyen's face darkened again. He could not wait to throw the name card at Do Tianyi's face. Do Tianyi saw Su Yiyen's anger, but the corners of his lips curled up slightly. It was as if he was certain that Su Yiyen would give in one day and contact him on her own accord. When Li Yu pushed Do Tianyi out of Su Yiyen's office, he suddenly stopped. Immediately, Su Yiyen heard someone's calm and sorrowful whisper. I just want to live. Su Yiyen's hands subconsciously clenched. Yes, who would want to die if they could live? But what if the person who wanted to live was implicated in the life and death of the people around him? Would he be indifferent to the matter, or would he be a saint who would risk the danger of a backlash in the future to save the person first? Chapter 843. Live? Su Yiyen sneered and mocked himself. Who doesn't want to live? But no matter how much you want to live, you shouldn't trample on others. In his previous life, when Jingping was like that, and now, Do Tianyi was like that too. Thinking of this, Su Yiyen's gaze turned cold and gloomy, and his heart hardened. Boss, why do you have to do this? Li Yu pushed Do Tianyi out of Dongcheng. As soon as he got into the car, he couldn't help but complain. Miss Su didn't have a good impression of you to begin with. After today's incident, I'm afraid she wants to kill you. Do Tianyi was sitting in the back seat with his eyes closed. When he heard this, he opened his eyes and smiled. If I didn't cause trouble today, would she have a good impression of me? Li Yu choked. In his opinion, his boss's attitude towards Su Yiyan was already very good. Unfortunately, first impressions were not something that could be easily changed. Dou Tianyi couldn't be gentle, so he decided to use force. Li Yu wiped the cold sweat off his head and tried to persuade him. Even if Miss Su doesn't listen to force or persuasion, you're still asking for help. Wouldn't this be too? You still want to rely on her to treat your illness. What if she's upset and does something to you during your treatment? If that's the case, I'll have to ask you to help me take revenge. Dou Tianyi didn't care. It's already not easy for my rotten life to last until now. When I die, I'll drag a few more people down with me. That way, I won't be too lonely. Li Yu didn't know why, but he suddenly felt goosebumps all over his body. His intuition told him that Dou Tianyi wasn't joking. Ahahaha, boss, you really know how to joke. Dou Tianyi didn't expose him. He closed his eyes again and said faintly, it's not my style to speak nicely and beg humbly. As the saying goes, try peaceful means before resorting to force. He had already given Su Yiyan a gift. If Su Yiyan did not accept it, then he had a reason to use force. Compared to compromising, he preferred to hide a dagger behind a smile and seize by force. As soon as Dou Tianyi stepped out of Su Yiyan's company, everything that happened in Su Yiyan's office reached Su Yuxuan and Hu Qinhuan's ears. At that time, there were only 4 people in the office. It went without saying who spread the news. Su Yuxuan's face darkened when he found out about this, but he didn't rush to find trouble with Dou Tianyi. Instead, he asked Xia Junqing to report this matter to Hu Qinhuan. In his own words, when Yan Yan was at home, he and his father were there to protect her. Now that she was married, her husband had to make the first move. Otherwise, wouldn't his sister's marriage be in vain? Xia Junqing listened to Su Yuxuan's sour complaints and had a hard time holding back his laughter. In the end, he still revealed this matter to Hu Qinhuan. However, he made some adjustments and only conveyed the words Dou Tianyi said to Su Yiyan. He didn't mention Dou Tianyi's meaningful and ambiguous tone when they spoke. Even so, Hu Qinhuan's face still darkened after hearing about this matter. Threatening Yan Yan with the safety of his family. How arrogant. Zhuo Yanbai stood on the side. He still had a smile on his face, but his eyes were terrifyingly cold. Maybe it's because Mr. Dou doesn't have any relatives at home. He has enough to eat and the whole family doesn't have to go hungry. That's why he's so fearless and eager to do whatever he wants. Hu Qinhuan sneered and said gloomily, you said that there are still people in the collateral branch of the Dou family alive? Chapter 844. Well, at that time, the Dou family fought for power and made a lot of noise. Most of the people involved are no longer alive. Only the 2 sons of Dou Tianyi's uncle were studying abroad at that time. They were not in the country and escaped the disaster. I remember that when the Dou family changed dynasties, the one who fought with Dou Tianyi the most was his uncle. Yes, Dou Tianyi's uncle and Dou Tianyi's father are from different branches. They are not close in terms of blood relationship. It is said that the only bloodline of the Dou family's old master died early due to illness. He had no choice but to choose an heir from the side branch. At that time, the most promising candidates were Dou Tianyi's father and his uncle. Hu Qinhuan raised her eyebrows. So, Dou Tianyi is not considered the main branch's bloodline? The Dou family does not pay special attention to this aspect. Compared to bloodline, they prefer those who are capable. Those who are capable. Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly. No wonder every time the power of the Dou family overlapped, there was bound to be a storm of blood. Was it those who were capable or the method of raising poisonous insects to choose the sharpest knife? Dou Tianyi's uncle is dead. Yes. How did he die? It is said that he was robbed and had a dispute with the robbers. He was stabbed several times. One of the stabs hit a vital point and he died on the spot. Is it related to Dou Tianyi? For the time being, there is no definite evidence to prove that this matter is related to him. But at that time, the Do family had internal strife. Those who opposed Do Tianyi almost all died one after another. Except for one who became a vegetable, most of the others are almost dead. Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly. What does it matter if there is evidence or not? What matters is what the two surviving young masters of the Do family think. Some things, everyone's heart was like a mirror, so it did not matter whether there was evidence or not. How was the relationship between the two of them and the deceased Do clan's uncle? The relationship between father and son is naturally not bad. If it was really bad, he wouldn't have spent so much effort to send him abroad first. He said that he was going to study abroad, but who knew if it was all part of his plan from the very beginning? It would be best if he succeeded in seizing power, but if he failed, he could at least leave a bloodline for himself and wait for a comeback in the future. How are their abilities? If they were just two idiots, then so be it. Even if they came back, they would only be serving Do Tianyi's head. They wouldn't be of much use. Between the two of them, the elder brother is somewhat intelligent, and the younger brother is not stupid. The two of them have always wanted to come back, but due to Do Tianyi's influence in the country, they did not dare to act rashly. In other words, they could be used. There's no need to really defeat him. It's enough to disgust him. Compared to getting someone else to do the dirty work, Hu Qinhuan would rather do it herself. Asking these two people to come out was just to give him an appetizer. Su Yiyan, who had no idea that she had replaced Wen Jingping's role in Do Tianyi, became the fuse that caused the tit-for-tat between her husband and the original villain, now the new male lead, was not in a good mood. Do Tianyi's sudden appearance caught her off guard. But the previous few encounters allowed Su Yiyan to be mentally prepared. She knew that she would meet him sooner or later. At first, she tried to shift the topic to Wen Jingping and attribute everything to the personal grudges between her and Wen Jingping. She just wanted to buy more time. However, Do Tianyi seemed to really not care about Wen Jingping at all. He was not interested in their grudges at all. As a result, before she could say anything, she died in her womb. Chapter 845. System, what's going on with Wen Jingping and Do Tianyi? Isn't he the new male lead that Wen Jingping carefully selected as a spare tire? Why isn't he licking Wen Jingping's boots, living and dying for her, smashing walls for her without any complaints? Why is he causing trouble for me all the time? He even said that he could help me deal with Wen Jingping. Is he trying to trick me or is he serious? Are you sure this Do Tianyi is really the new male lead? After the system's inspection, Do Tianyi is indeed the new male lead that the female lead in this world has chosen for the second time. Then what's going on with him and Wen Jingping? Isn't the male lead in this world unconsciously led by the female lead, and his EQ and IQ would drop for no reason? Just like the previous Hu Xiaofeng, he was obviously proud and arrogant. He didn't even like Su Yiyan, who grew up pampered and received a good education from a rich family, let alone an ugly duckling like Wen Jingping, who was inferior to Su Yiyan in every way. However, it was as if he was possessed and stubbornly treated her as a priceless treasure. No matter how many tricks Wen Jingping used and how much trouble she brought him, he still enjoyed it like a diligent bootlicker. If Wen Jingping hadn't seen that Hu Xiaofeng had been kicked out of the Hu Corporation and had no hope of becoming a cuckold, he might have been led by the nose for a long time. But I think Do Tianyi doesn't seem to be affected. Although he spent money on Wen Jingping to get the resources of a big IP female lead, he wasn't actually fascinated by Wen Jingping's female lead halo. He listened to her every word and seemed normal. No. From the fact that he could easily bring out Wen Jingping to negotiate with her, this person was very abnormal. The host's progress in stealing the female lead halo has reached 50%, causing the female lead halo's influence on the male lead to greatly decrease. Moreover, the host has various skills provided by the system, under certain conditions, overriding the original female lead's golden fingers. The familiar mechanical voice faintly carried a hint of pride at the end, as if to say, "Look, I've provided you with all these good things, who knows how many times better than the original female lead's half-baked golden fingers." Isn't it normal for the new male lead to give up on the original female lead and look for you to treat his illness? Who would be willing to give up a 5-star luxurious meal and run to torture himself by eating leftovers? After listening to the system's explanation, Su Yiyen felt that it made a bit of sense. However, her focus wasn't on this, but, "System, I've found that you've become more and more human." After that, the system on the system on it, on the system on the robot. The system. The system. The system, the system. The system, you. The. If you're talking about those Hua aprons on the little robots, please forgive me for rejecting. Su Yiyen waited for a while, but the system didn't reply. She sighed in disappointment and stopped teasing it. Instead, she asked another question seriously. "System, if Chen Huan and I hadn't increased the progress of stealing the golden fingers, would Dou Tiany's illness one day?" The system was silent for a while before giving a thoughtful answer. According to the setting of the original novel, the villain Dou Tiany's blood disease can only be alleviated, but not cured. Hearing this, Su Yiyen's mind flashed. In the original novel, Dou Tiany was the villain, so naturally, it was impossible for him to be cured of this disease. However, he was now the world's new male lead, with the male lead halo above his head. It was impossible for him to be mentioned in the same breath as the original novel. Chapter 846. Su Yiyen pondered for a moment, then continued to ask, "Can these things that I have on hand cure him?" "No." "Then how did he?" The system fell silent again. Su Yiyen waited for a while, but she did not get an answer. "System. Dou Tiany is the world's male lead, so he has the same luck as the world's female lead. Moreover, because he hasn't had a large number of gold fingers snatched away like the world's female lead, his luck is slightly stronger." At this point, the system paused for a moment, as if it was thinking about how to explain the situation. Su Yiyen noticed this, and her eyes narrowed. She could actually feel that the system could not explain everything to her. Most of the time, the system could only tell her certain things through hints, as if it was restricted by something. The host can snatch the gold fingers of the male and female lead, and use them to change your own fate, and vice versa. Su Yiyen's eyes narrowed. After she understood the system's meaning, she could not help but swear on the spot. She knew that things were not that simple. So this was what the system was waiting for. Su Yiyen had previously discovered that a large part of the so-called snatching gold fingers was to save the supporting male and female leads who had been used as stepping stones by the male and female lead after their blood had been sucked dry, so as to reduce the public impact that the male and female lead had on this world. These supporting male and female leads could have had beautiful families and limitless futures, but because they had been targeted, not only had they become paper people to be used, but they had also been trampled under their feet, and their families had been ruined. Now that she heard the system say this, good heavens! What did it mean to have the world's luck? What did it mean to be different from ordinary people? They were clearly snatching the luck of others and superimposing it on themselves, bringing endless benefits to themselves. They didn't forget to get rid of the donkey after it had outlived its usefulness and killed the person who had no value to them, so as to prevent these people from rising from the ashes and snatching the luck back from them. Su Yiyen took a deep breath, her expression extremely ugly. This should be considered a bug in the world. It's clearly a terminal illness, but just because he's the male lead, there's hope of recovery. This. Host, don't forget that the world you're in is originally a book. Some epics and dramas could not be guaranteed to be perfect, not to mention that the foundation of this world came from a cliched Mary Sue romance novel. It would be strange if there were no bugs. Moreover, the world will automatically fix the bugs. A large part of the male lead's recovery will be attributed to good luck, a successful operation with an extremely low success rate. Or someone suddenly had a flash of inspiration and developed a special medicine for this disease, but the raw materials for this type of medicine are rare, it can't be popularized, and so on. Su Yiyen's expression was subtle. The reason given by the system was really hard to refute. There was no lack of miracles in the history of medicine. There were many reports that people who were diagnosed with terminal illnesses and had a maximum lifespan of 1 or 2 years had lived for 5 or even 10 years because of their good attitude. Hua Qinhuan's legs were originally diagnosed as impossible to recover, but after he stood up again, how many people would think about the metaphysical factors involved? They would only sigh at his good luck, meeting a good doctor who created a miracle. Some people even suspected that his legs were not as serious as the rumors said, and that everything was just a smokescreen. People would always subconsciously believe what they saw, and find good reasons for it. The so-called bug was only a bug in the eyes of insiders like her. In the eyes of others, it was just a miracle that could not be explained with common sense. Chapter 847. Receiving Su Yayan's praise, little Yuan Yuan blushed and said shyly, "Protecting the little master is what Yuan Yuan should do." Dun Dun on the side saw that Su Yayan praised Yuan Yuan but not itself, and seemed to be a little dissatisfied. It ran to Su Yayan's feet and circled around. Silly Boy followed behind the dog father and also circled around Su Yayan. The father and son circled around for a long time and found that Su Yayan did not respond at all. They couldn't help but go forward and rub Su Yayan's calf. Only then did Su Yayan notice Dun Dun and mistakenly thought that it was concerned about Zai Zai. She quickly hugged the baby and leaned over to comfort it. "Dun Dun, do you want to see the baby?" "Don't worry, the baby is fine." Dun Dun barked twice and sat on Su Yayan's right foot unhappily. Silly Girl followed suit. She walked to Su Yayan's left foot and sat down. Su Yayan, who had 2 dogs on her feet, ahem. Uncle Zhang saw this scene and coughed lightly. He smiled faintly and said, "They may have felt angry that they had helped just now, but young madam only praised Yuan Yuan and not them." Su Yayan was surprised. They also helped? After Yuan Yuan chased after them, she snatched the young master back from this woman. These 2 followed behind Yuan Yuan, and when they saw this woman still wanted to come over to snatch the child, they bit her. Where did they bite? Ahem. Uncle Zhang's old face was slightly red and he did not answer. Instead, it was a young girl on the side who held back her laughter and interrupted, "The place with the most meat." These 2 little guys bit so fiercely that they almost pulled people's pants off. Su Yayan, Hua Qinhuan, this trick was a little familiar. Woof. Dun Dun seemed to know that someone was mentioning its heroic appearance. It raised its head proudly and barked twice, its wet dog eyes full of praise. The corner of Su Yayan's mouth twitched slightly. She thought to herself that she did not know what was wrong with this dog of hers. It especially liked to bite the place with the most meat. However, considering that the 2 dogs had indeed made a contribution this time, Su Yayan was still generous with her praise. Dun Dun and Silly Boy also did a good job and protected the baby. Dun Dun stood up with a rustle and shook its tail like a propeller. Little Dun even patted Su Yayan's calf and snorted, showing its mouth full of small steel teeth. It seemed to be saying, "Humph, don't you see who's protecting this little cub? How dare she steal their cub? It's good enough that she didn't bite her to death." Silly Boy did not think so much. She stuck out her tongue and stared at her dog father, nodding from time to time to show her agreement. Su Yayan looked at the 2 silly boys and really could not bear to look at them, so she could only put her attention back on Yuan Yuan. How did Yuan Yuan know that this bad guy was going to steal her brother away? Because of the surveillance. Surveillance? Hua Qinhuan's eyes flickered slightly, and he explained to her, "Yuan Yuan is a family protection robot. It can analyze whether the other party will hurt the owner from the surveillance images and the behavior of people, and then react accordingly." Su Yayan was slightly stunned. Only then did she remember that ever since Yuan Yuan entered their house, every corner of the house had been installed with surveillance cameras. At that time, she thought that it was nothing, but now it seemed that it was because Yuan Yuan was only focused on the construction of the courtyard at that time, and there was no one in the house to cause trouble, so there was no place for her to use her talents. Now that there was a baby in the house, and there was such a scheming traitor, the role of these little things was immediately revealed. Chapter 848. Yen yen. Hua Chenhuan had also rushed back after receiving the call. As soon as she got out of the car, she ran into Su Yiyen, whose legs had turned to jelly. She rushed over to support Su Yiyen before she fell. Baby, baby. Su Yiyen's face was as white as a sheet. She did not dare to think about what she would do if something really happened to the child. It's okay, it's okay. The child is fine. Uncle Zhang and the others found out early. The child is not injured. Really? Su Yiyen's eyes widened. She grabbed Hua Chenhuan's hand as if she was holding on to her only life-saving straw. She was panicked and pitiful. Seeing her like this, Hua Chenhuan's anger rose to the peak. She hugged Su Yiyen tightly and comforted her gently. Of course it's true. I've confirmed it with Uncle Zhang. The child is fine. He's fine. Nothing happened to him. Su Yiyen definitely believed Hua Chenhuan. But at this time, if she did not see the child with her own eyes and confirm that he was safe, it would be futile no matter what others said. Hua Chenhuan naturally understood this point. As she spoke, she carried the child and rushed inside. Because of what had just happened, the atmosphere in the house was unusually solemn. When Su Yiyen and Su Yiyen entered the hall, they immediately saw the family servants and security guards gathered in the hall. In the middle of them, a female servant in her early 40s was tied up with rope. She sat on the ground with her head slightly lowered, looking dispirited. The little Zai, who had almost been stolen, was in Uncle Zhang's arms. His big eyes were rolling around, completely unaware of what had happened to him not long ago. Su Yiyen's eyes were full of Zai. When she saw the child, she immediately rushed over. Young madam. When Uncle Zhang saw Su Yiyen coming over, he immediately let go of the child in his arms. When the little boy saw his mother, he happily waved his chubby little arms and giggled. Su Yiyen hugged him and carefully checked him from head to toe. After making sure that he was really okay, she finally felt relieved. She lowered her head and rubbed Zai's chubby face. She complained softly, "You little brat, you really scared your mother to death." Hua Chenhuan had followed Su Yiyen all the way here. Now, she was standing beside Su Yiyen. Looking at the smiling faces of the mother and son, her heart softened a lot. But that didn't mean that he had forgotten the anger he felt when he first received the call and learned that his son had almost been stolen. What the hell is going on? Hua Chenhuan's sharp gaze swept across the maid on the ground. If looks could kill, she would not have had the chance to speak at all. This maid could be considered as an old member of the family Hua. She knew how powerful Hua Chenhuan was. Being stared at by him like this, the cold sweat on her forehead became more severe. Her lips trembled slightly, and she couldn't speak for a long time. When Uncle Zhang saw this, his face sank. He stepped forward and explained to the two of them, "Young master, it's like this. It turned out that about an hour ago, after the nanny fed the little boy milk and coaxed him to sleep, she suddenly received a courier call and went out for a while. In less than 10 minutes, the maid sitting on the ground sneaked into the baby's room and carried out the baby who was still sleeping soundly. If Yuan hadn't reacted in time and snatched the child back before this woman carried the young master out of the door, the consequences would have been unimaginable." When Uncle Zhang said this, Su Yiyen and Hua Chenhuan were both stunned. They subconsciously turned to look at Yuan, who was wearing a pink apron. Su Yiyen was the first to react. She freed a hand and patted Yuan's little head. She praised, "So it was Yuan who snatched little brother back. That's great." Chapter 849. Receiving Su Yiyen's praise, little Yuan blushed and said shyly, "Protecting the little master is what Yuan should do." Dun Dun, who was at the side, saw that Su Yiyen praised Yuan but did not praise it. It seemed to be a little dissatisfied and ran around Su Yiyen's feet. It followed behind the dog Daddy and also circled around Su Yiyen. The father and son circled Su Yiyen for a long time and realized that Su Yiyen had no reaction at all. They couldn't help but move forward and nudge Su Yiyen's calf. Su Yiyan only noticed Dun Dun now and mistakenly thought that he was concerned about the baby. She quickly hugged the baby and leaned over to comfort him. Dun Dun, do you want to see the baby? Don't worry, the baby is fine. Dun Dun barked twice and sat on Su Yiyan's right foot unhappily. Following suit, Dun Dun walked to Su Yiyan's left foot and sat down as well. Su Yiyan, who had 2 dogs on her feet, was speechless. Ahem. Uncle Zhang saw this scene and coughed softly. He smiled faintly and said, they might be angry that young mistress only praised Yuan Yuan and not them when they helped just now. Su Yiyan was surprised. They helped too. After Yuan Yuan chased after her, she took the little master back from this woman. These 2 followed behind Yuan Yuan. When they saw that this woman wanted to take the child back, they bit her. Where did they bite? Ahem. Uncle Zhang blushed and didn't answer. However, a young girl on the side held back her laughter and said, it was the place with the most meat. These 2 little guys bit so fiercely that they almost pulled her pants off. Su Yiyan was speechless. Hu Qinhuan was speechless. This trick was a little familiar. Woof. Dun Dun seemed to know that someone was talking about its heroic appearance. It raised its head proudly and barked twice, its watery eyes full of praise. The corner of Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. He thought to himself, I don't know what's wrong with my dog. It only likes to bite the places with the most human flesh. However, considering that the 2 dogs did make a contribution this time, Su Yiyan was not stingy with his praise. Dun Dun and Silly also did a good job protecting the babies. Dun Dun stood up and wagged its tail like a propeller. Little Giorgio even patted Su Yiyan's calf and showed its mouth full of steel teeth. It was as if he was saying, Humph, don't you know who's protecting the little brat? She dared to steal their little brat. It's good enough that they didn't bite her to death. Silly girl, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. She stuck out her tongue and stared at her dog father, nodding her head from time to time to show her agreement. Su Yiyan looked at the 2 silly girls and couldn't bear to look at them directly. She had to focus her attention back on Yuan Yuan. How did Yuan Yuan know that this bad guy was going to steal my brother? Because of the surveillance. Surveillance? Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and he explained to her, Yuan Yuan is a family protection robot. It can analyze whether the other party will hurt the owner from the images and character behavior in the surveillance and react accordingly. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. Only then did she remember that since Yuan Yuan entered their house, every corner of the house had been installed with surveillance. At that time, she felt that there was something wrong. Now it seemed that it was because Yuan Yuan was only focused on the construction of the courtyard at that time, and there was no one in the house to cause trouble. Now that there was a baby in the house, and there was such a wicked thief, the role of these little things was suddenly shown. Chapter 850. Su Yiyan was both scared and relieved. He coldly glanced at the woman on the ground, lowered his head, and couldn't help but rub Zai Zai's chubby face. After making Zai Zai giggle, he reluctantly handed the child to Yuan Yuan and said, Yuan Yuan, be good. Take your brother upstairs with Dun Dun and the others. When master and father have settled this matter, we'll go up to find you. Yuan Yuan received the order and immediately took the child upstairs. Su Yiyan watched the little ones leave until they were out of sight. After confirming that they wouldn't disturb the child, his eyes fell on the culprit. What else do you have to explain? I. The woman's eyes wandered, and her face was full of guilt. Why did you do that? The sudden angry shout scared the woman, and she said with a trembling voice, I just saw that the young master was bored in the room, so I wanted to take him out for a walk to get some fresh air and some sun. I really didn't want to steal the child. I was wronged. Bored in the room. Get some fresh air. Su Yiyan sneered. Do you think all of us here are fools? Bringing a sleeping child out to bask in the sun, do you want to give him some fresh air or do you want to burn him to death? Even if the baby was really bored in the room, you could have told Uncle Zhang and the nanny to take the baby out for a walk in the yard. Who allowed you to secretly take the initiative to touch him when the nanny wasn't around? And who gave you the right to take him out alone? Every time Su Yayan said a sentence, she took a step forward, and the woman subconsciously moved back in her tied-up position. In the end, she had nowhere to retreat and bumped into the edge of the sofa behind her. Trembling, she said, "I'm telling the truth. I really didn't have any other intentions. I just wanted to take the young master out for a walk. But I didn't think so much. It was indeed a little thoughtless, but I really didn't have any bad intentions. Young madam, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please forgive me this time. I promise I won't do it again. Again? This kind of thing once is scary enough. Do you still want to have a second time?" Su Yiyan was too lazy to talk nonsense with her. "Uncle Zhang, call the police. Since she doesn't want to talk about it here, we'll talk about it in the police station." "Yes, young madam." Uncle Zhang turned around to make the call. The woman's expression changed slightly, and she panicked. "No, don't call the police, don't call the police. If you didn't do anything wrong, why are you worried about calling the police?" Su Yiyan saw her panicked look. "You said that you just wanted to take the child out to bask in the sun. There are so many pairs of eyes in the house, including surveillance cameras, that can prove that you want to steal the child. Everyone had their reasons. The best way was to call the police and let an impartial person investigate and judge." "Uncle Zhang, call the police." "No, don't." The woman fell to the ground and struggled to move towards Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan looked at her condescendingly. He didn't feel sorry for her at all. His tone became colder and colder. "I'll give you one last chance. Tell me the truth, why did you steal my child?" The woman trembled and lowered her head. Her face showed that she was struggling. Su Yiyan didn't have that much time to waste with her. "Uncle Zhang. I'll talk." The woman screamed and looked up at the people around her who were looking at her coldly. Knowing that she couldn't escape today, she gritted her teeth and said, "I didn't want to steal the child. Someone asked me to help take the child out. He said that as long as I brought the child out to him, he would give me a sum of money." Chapter 851. Su Yiyan and Hu Qinhuan looked at each other. They were not surprised. It was impossible for them to believe that there was nothing fishy about a family thief helping to steal a child. However, compared to the person in front of them who had suddenly done all this stupidly, Su Yiyan and Uncle Qiao were obviously more willing to believe that there was a shady mastermind behind her who was manipulating all of this. "Who is it?" The female servant looked up and met Hu Qinhuan's extremely cold eyes. She shivered and whispered, It's the eldest young master." The eldest young master was what the old servants in the old mansion who had been working at Hu Qinhuan's parents had called Hu Qihan. Even after Hu Qinhuan's parents had passed away and Hu Qinhuan had taken over the old mansion and parted ways with Hu Qihan, they had not changed the way they addressed him. This answer was unexpected for Su Yiyan and Hu Qinhuan, but it was also reasonable. "What did he ask you to do?" "He asked me to find an opportunity to secretly take the young master out and hand him over to him. As long as I can do this, he will give you money." "Yes." "How much?" Five million. Su Yayan sneered. "Hu Qihan, you bought my son for only 5 million yuan. Hu Qihan really made a good deal." When Uncle Zhang and the others heard Su Yiyan's words, they looked at the woman with disdain and disappointment. Most of the people who could stay in the old mansion had worked in the family Hua since Hu Qinhuan's parents' generation. Most of these people had received favors from Hu Qinhuan's parents. Even during Hu Qinhuan's most difficult period, she had never mistreated them. Therefore, most of them were very loyal and would not cause any trouble under normal circumstances. In their eyes, people like this woman, who would sell their masters for a little money, were no different from traitors. Not to mention that her target was the little young master whom they looked at like the apple of their eye. She was simply insane. The woman met everyone's wary gazes and panicked. She begged for mercy in a loud voice, "Young master, young madam, I really had no choice but to do such a wicked thing. My son gambled and owed a huge debt. If he didn't pay it back, those people would chop off his fingers and beat him to death. My husband died early and left me with this son. I really can't watch him get beaten to death." The woman's face was covered in tears and snot. She cried pitifully. Coincidentally, the eldest young master found me and asked me to help him sneak the little young master out. I thought that since eldest young master is little young master's uncle, he definitely wouldn't hurt little young master, so I agreed to eldest young master's request and helped him with this matter. That's enough. Do you think he won't do anything to the baby because he's the baby's uncle? Or do you think that as long as you finish this job, you can get the money, and as long as you have the money, your son will be able to pay off his debts and won't be chopped off? The woman did not expect Su Yiyan to expose her true thoughts. Her eyes darted around for a moment, but she quickly calmed down and said in a sorrowful voice, "Young madam, I was at my wit's end and had no choice but to do this kind of thing in a moment of confusion. Little young master is fine now. Please forgive me this time." It would have been better if she did not say this. Once she said this, Su Yiyan was filled with anger. She was so angry that she went forward and kicked the woman to the side. "You were at your wit's end? You were at your wit's end and wanted to use my son as a sacrifice in exchange for your son's safety. You people are not worthy." Chapter 852. The woman was stunned by Su Yiyan's kick. When she came to her senses, she instinctively tried to struggle, but Su Yiyan stepped on her, rendering her unable to move. "Get this straight. My son is fine because my family was capable enough to snatch him back from you, not because you realized your mistake and sent him back safely. So, how do you have the audacity to ask me to spare you and forgive you? Or is it just like the old saying, a shameless person is invincible in the world?" This was the first time that everyone in the family Hua had seen Su Yiyan like this. In the past year that Su Yiyan had married into the family Hua, she had always been very gentle and kind to her family. She did not put on any airs and would even cook with several of the family's chefs from time to time. It was precisely because of her down-to-earth nature that everyone in the family Hua quickly became close to her and naturally treated her as a gentle and considerate person who did not have a temper. It was only when they saw Su Yiyan like this today that they suddenly realized that Su Yiyan was not without a temper. It could even be said that when she was angry, she looked very much like Hua Qinhuan. When Hua Qinhuan saw this scene, he vaguely remembered that when Hua Xiaofeng had spoken rudely to him, Su Yiyan had also flown into a rage and rushed out to avenge him. When he thought of this, Hua Qinhuan more or less felt a little upset. Before this, he was the only one who had received such treatment. Su Yiyan, who was completely unaware that her man was still strangely jealous of her son, did not care about what the people around her thought. She only wanted to punish this thief on the spot and crush him to death. In her opinion, the person in front of her was full of lies. She did not believe a single word she had just said. Whether it was a lie or a truth, what did it have to do with her? Her son was her son, but other people's sons were not their sons. She only thought that her son's fingers would be chopped off if he did not have the money to pay his debts. Why did she not think about what would happen if her child was stolen and fell into the hands of others? Although Hua Qihan and Hua Qinhuan were brothers in name, they had turned against each other because of what had happened in the early years. Hua Qihan probably wanted to kill Hua Qinhuan now, not to mention brotherly love. Especially because of the change of ownership of the Hua Corporation, everyone knew that the relationship between the two brothers was not good. It had even reached the point where they would fight to the death. Even outsiders could see it clearly, not to mention the family Hua, who had watched the two brothers all the way until now. However, this woman could easily say that she felt that Hua Qihan was the baby's uncle and would definitely not hurt the baby. It could be seen that she was extremely selfish. "Uncle Zhang, call the police." "Although I really want to kill him, we are good citizens. We can't use lynchings. Let's leave it to the professionals. I believe that the righteous ones will give me and my child a satisfactory explanation. Yes, I'll go now. Seeing that Su Yiyan had made up her mind, Uncle Zhang turned around and left without looking back. The woman did not expect that after she had explained the matter clearly, Su Yiyan still wanted to hand her over to the police. Her expression changed again, and she cried loudly, young madam, please spare me. I still have a son. He has just become an adult and knows nothing. Now, those creditors are chasing him. How can he live without me? Young madam, I beg you, let me go just this once. As long as you let me go, my son and I will repay you in the future. Chapter 853. The woman cried miserably, but Su Yiyan's heart did not soften at all. Instead, as if she had been enlightened, she suddenly realized something. Oh, yes, you still have a son. Yes, I still have a son. Young madam, you're also a mother, so you should know how I feel. The child can't live without his mother. My son is still so young. He can't live without me. For the sake of my son, for the sake of the family Hua all these years, please forgive me this time. Don't send me to the police station. I'll kowtow to you. As the woman spoke, she struggled to get up and kept kowtowing to Su Yiyan. She looked quite pitiful, but everyone present felt a little strange when they heard her words. What did she mean by, for the sake of the family Hua all these years? She made it sound as if the family Hua had not paid her any salary or benefits all these years. She had suffered a great loss, but she still did not leave the family Hua. Su Yiyan's face darkened again because of her words. It's because I'm also a mother that I know how abominable the people who try to hurt my son are. The woman's face stiffened, and an ominous premonition arose in her heart. After you go to the police station, you'd better explain your crimes properly. You'd better hand over all the evidence you have. Otherwise, we won't need your son's creditors. We can deal with him. Su Yiyan leaned over to the woman's ear and chuckled. You should know that killing him is as easy as killing an ant for us. The woman was stunned for a while before she seemed to suddenly wake up. She kept begging for mercy. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. Don't hurt my son. Don't hurt my son. She looked like a pitiful mother when she was worried about her son, but the things she did made people feel no sympathy for her. After Uncle Zhang called the police, the other side acted quickly. About half an hour later, a group of people came to take the woman away. They also copied a copy of the surveillance footage in the family Hua house and the content of the transaction with Hu Qihan that the woman had kept. She did not know if Hu Qihan was really stupid or if there was no one he could trust around him, so he could only do it himself. His contact with this woman was actually done in person, without the slightest concealment. However, his arrogance and stupidity had saved Su Yiyan and the others a lot of trouble. They believed that Hu Qihan would have to go to jail today if there were no accidents. Su Yiyan watched with her own eyes as the police took the woman away. Only then did she turn around and go upstairs to look for her adorable children. At this moment, little Xingxing had already been coaxed to sleep by Yuan Yuan. He lay in the cradle with his eyes closed, but his mouth was slightly open. From time to time, he would squirm a few times. It was unknown if he was dreaming of something delicious. Dun Dun and Silly Girl circled around the cradle happily, but their movements were very light and did not make any noise to disturb the sleeping angel in the cradle. When Su Yiyan and Hu Qinhuan entered the house, they saw this scene. Most of the anger that had accumulated outside was extinguished, and they could not help but smile a little more. When Yuan Yuan, who was also guarding the cradle, saw the two of them come in, she immediately said shyly, "Master, the little master has fallen asleep." Well, Yuan Yuan did a good job. Su Yiyan smiled faintly and touched Yuan Yuan's head, praising her. After praising her, she thought of the two little guys circling below and quickly added, "You all did a good job today. Qinhuan, the babies, and I should thank you. Chapter 854. Yuan and the two little guys were very happy to hear Su Yiyan say so. Dun Dun, in particular, raised its head and patted Su Yiyan's calf happily and reservedly, as if to say, "You're welcome, you're welcome." Su Yiyan was amused by it. She picked it up and rubbed it from head to toe, kneading the big meaty guy into a soft puddle. Dun Dun enjoyed it and was angry at the same time. It felt that its owner had embarrassed it in front of its son. As soon as Su Yiyan's hands stopped, it jumped out of her arms and ran out with its son. Yuan followed the two dogs out of the door. Suddenly, only the two adults and the sleeping baby were left in the room. Su Yiyan stood by the cradle and reached out to poke the little guy's warm and soft little face. Her heart was finally at ease. Hua Qinhuan stepped forward and hugged her waist. He whispered, Yan, I'm sorry." Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. After she reacted, she couldn't help laughing. "Why are you apologizing? It's not your fault. If you hadn't brought Yuan home, the baby would have been in danger this time. Don't worry. The same thing won't happen again." "Well, I believe you." Su Yiyan leaned in Hua Qinhuan's arms and rubbed his chin. Then she seemed to think of something and her face darkened. "That woman, I've already asked Xiaoyang to keep an eye on her. Don't worry. Neither she nor Hua Qihan can escape." He originally wanted to spare Hua Qihan's life for the sake of his parents. He wanted to let him have a taste of what it was like to be kicked when a man was down and bullied when he was down. But of all things, he shouldn't have done that to his child. Hua Qinhuan's eyes were slightly cold. He had already calculated that even if this incident didn't take his life, he would definitely put him in jail. As for whether they could come out alive after entering, that was something that no one could guarantee. It was impossible for Su Yiyan to have any sympathy for these two people. She only said in a low voice, "Get someone to check on that woman's son." "You suspect she's lying?" "I just want to see what kind of stupid brat this gambler is. He gambled so much that his mother stole his child. And then? If what she said is true, will you soften your heart?" Soft-hearted? Su Yiyan turned to look at Hua Qinhuan as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world. "Am I such a saintly person in your heart?" "Of course not. In my heart, you are kind, smart, opinionated, and have a clear distinction between good and evil. It's just that I heard that a girl's heart would soften after giving birth, so." It's true that one's heart will soften after giving birth to a baby, but it also depends on who it is. As Su Yiyan spoke, she couldn't help but reach out to touch her baby's chubby face. That woman raised her child alone and was implicated by her son. It sounded really pitiful. But there must be something hateful about a pitiful person. The reason why a brat would become a brat was because no parent was innocent. Just from what that woman said, it could be seen that her son might not be a good child. She was definitely not a good parent herself. She could not even be considered a good person. At the thought that her child had almost fallen into Hua Qihan's hands because of that woman, Su Yiyan's heart was as hard as a stone. She could pick it up and smash her head with it at any moment. Hua Qihan hated Hua Qinhuan so much. When she was pregnant, his child had died from a miscarriage because of Hua Xiaofeng's pushing. Who knew if this person would be crazy enough to kill or throw away their child? Chapter 855. Hua Qihan is the mastermind, and she is an accomplice. In my heart, they are equally abominable. There is no such thing as who is innocent and who is less guilty. Hua Qinhuan thought deeply. He pursed his lips and said apologetically, "Hua Qihan probably wants to use the baby to threaten me and make me return the Hua Corporation to him." "I know." Su Yiyan lowered her eyes slightly, and there was a hint of coldness in them. "I also know that if the baby really falls into his hands, even if you return the Hua Corporation to him, he will not return the baby to us." This matter was said to be a kidnapping, but in fact, it was a premeditated kidnapping. The worst result of the kidnapping was to kill the baby and lose both the baby and the money. The best result, from Hu Qihan's point of view, must be to send the baby away so that she and Hu Qinhuan would never be able to find him again. At the thought of this possibility, Su Yiyan's heart twisted. Her child, who was only a month old, was about to be involved in this dirty power struggle and become a bargaining chip in others' hands. No matter what, since Hu Qihan dared to do such a thing, don't blame me for being cruel. If you don't have the heart to punish him, you can leave this matter to my brother and my grandfather. Anyway, I will never let him go so easily. When Hu Qinhuan heard Su Yiyan's words, he couldn't help but laugh. He asked in a low voice, "In your eyes, am I such a saint? After all, he is your brother." "You..." Before Su Yiyan could finish, Hu Qinhuan had already interrupted her. "My parents are the ones who have something to do with him. He has nothing to do with me." Huh? Su Yiyan didn't quite understand what he meant and turned to look at him in confusion. Hu Qinhuan didn't dwell on this topic. "Don't worry. I've always been soft-hearted to you and the baby. He doesn't deserve it." Su Yiyan turned her head and looked into Hu Qinhuan's eyes. Knowing that Hu Qinhuan wasn't lying, her heart settled down. She buried her face in Hu Qinhuan's arms and didn't say anything else. Su Yiyan had thought that Hu Qihan would be arrested soon since there were witnesses and evidence. She did not expect to suddenly receive news from the police that night. Hu Qihan had gotten the news in advance and had run away. She could not find him for the time being. "How did you get the news in advance? Could it be that there is another mole in the family?" Su Yiyan's face was very ugly, and her heart could not help but tremble. What if there were other traitors in the family who were tipping him off? She and Hu Qinhuan couldn't be at home 24/7, and Uncle Zhang and the others couldn't be by their children's side 24/7 either. The same thing could happen a second time if it happened once. What if Yuan didn't react in time this time? Hu Qinhuan knew what she was thinking when he saw her face. He held her hand tightly and comforted her. "Don't panic. Listen to me. There is no mole in the family. It should be that the woman and Hu Qihan made an appointment in advance. Hu Qihan didn't see her for a long time and couldn't get through to her phone. Then, he realized that something was wrong and ran away in advance." Su Yiyan frowned slightly and looked puzzled. An appointment in advance? But how did they know in advance when the nanny would leave the room and when the woman would sneak the child out for him? The nanny who was responsible for taking care of the baby was also an elder in the family. Because there were 7 or 8 grandchildren in the family and she had rich experience in taking care of children, she was appointed by Uncle Zhang to take care of little Xingxing. Chapter 856. After Su Yiyan and the child returned from the hospital, she had been taking care of little Xingxing. In addition to taking care of the child, the nanny didn't have to do any other work. She basically wouldn't leave the child's side, unless, Su Yiyan's mind flashed. "Is it that express delivery?" "Yes." Hu Qihan bribed the courier to deliver the goods at a fixed time, and then found some excuses to delay him in order to buy time for that woman. No wonder. In this case, it could explain why Hu Qihan could get the news in advance and run away. It was clearly the appointed time, but he didn't show up after waiting for a long time, and the phone couldn't get through. No matter how stupid a person was, he should have realized that something was wrong. How could he not run away? Knowing that there was no other mole in the family, Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, she was a little nervous. Could he have gone abroad? No. Hu Qinhuan patted her head to comfort her. Before calling the police, Xiao Yang and the others had informed all the major airports in advance to detain him as soon as they found his trace. They haven't found him yet, so he must still be in the country. Su Yiyan pursed her lips and hesitated. "Why don't I take little Xingxing to work tomorrow? Are you worried?" "As long as we don't catch him, I won't feel at ease." Su Yiyan seemed to think of something as she spoke. She whispered, "It's not that I don't trust Uncle Zhang and the others, but after today's incident, I panic when the child is out of my sight for a while. I'm afraid that he will be taken away again." Hua Chenhuan saw her like this, and her eyes were full of heartache. "I understand. Let the nanny accompany you tomorrow." Su Yiyan was stunned. She didn't expect Hua Chenhuan to agree so easily. Instead, she felt a little embarrassed. "No, I can do it alone." During the month of confinement, although her family didn't let her do any heavy work and the child was basically taken care of by the nanny, she was really bored and learned how to make milk and change diapers from the nanny. In addition, the baby had been very obedient since birth. As long as he wasn't starved or frightened, he rarely made a fuss or cried. Su Yiyan was full of confidence and felt that he could do it alone. Hua Chenhuan saw that her fighting spirit was reignited and she was no longer as nervous and worried as before. She smiled and said, "Okay, if you can't handle it alone, you can ask number 1 and the others for help." Number 1 was the leader of the bodyguards that Hua Chenhuan had arranged to protect Su Yiyan. These people had no names, only code names. At first, they only hid in the dark to protect Su Yiyan. At the same time, they also helped Hua Chenhuan. They secretly took pictures of her. However, after Su Yiyan made it clear that he did not hate the existence of these people, this group of people changed from being in the dark to being in the light. Every day, they followed Su Yiyan in and out, basically being on duty 24/7. Number 1. Su Yiyan was stunned, her face full of disbelief. "Aren't they bodyguards? They know how to take care of the child." Each of them was as thick as a tower, dark and strong. Some of them even had scars on their faces. If they stood in front of the child, it would be good enough if the child didn't cry. How could they help her coax the child? "Don't worry. They have undergone all kinds of professional training before they took on the job. Basically, it's not difficult for them to change light bulbs, fix circuits, and take care of the child." Su Yiyan. Were the requirements for being a bodyguard these days so high? Chapter 857. The next day, Su Yiyan pushed the stroller out of the family Hua's front door with a stomach full of doubts and curiosity. On the way to the company, Su Yiyan's gaze fell on number 1, who was sitting in the front passenger seat. After all, number 1 had received professional training and was quite sensitive to other people's gazes. When Su Yiyan looked at him, he noticed it immediately. Along the way, he was aware of every look that Su Yiyan threw at him. Along the way, he felt like he was sitting on pins and needles, and he broke out in cold sweat. Those who didn't know would think that there were many enemies lurking around along the way. It made him panic, as if he was facing a great enemy. When they finally arrived at the East City Gate, Su Yiyan finally couldn't help but ask him, "Do you know how to take care of the child?" Huh? Number 1 didn't understand why Su Yiyan would ask this. He looked at her blankly and then said with a serious face, "If young madam needs it, I can." Su Yiyan. What do you mean by, "if I need it"? I suspect you're driving. Forget it, I'll take care of him myself. Su Yiyan pushed the pink stroller into the company through the front door. She passed by the front desk and went straight to the office upstairs. Little did she know that as soon as she left, the news of the big boss bringing a newborn young master to the company spread to every corner of the company as if it had wings. A group of strange uncles and aunties who were resting in the company were all eager to go up and see what the boss's child looked like. "Baby, look, this is Mommy's office. Mommy's office is very spacious and beautiful, isn't it? Look, there are even small cars down there, one after another small cars." Su Yiyan carried Zai Zai to the floor-to-ceiling window and looked at the cars coming and going on the street below. Little Xingxing stared with his big round eyes without crying or making a fuss. He curiously stared at the cars below for a long time without getting tired of it. In the end, Su Yiyan was a little tired from carrying Zai Zai. Zai Zai also seemed a little hungry, so she put the child back into the cradle. Su Yiyen had just made the milk and stuffed it into the child's mouth when the office door opened. Come in. Cough, Yayan, it's me. As soon as Xia Junqing entered the office, he saw the pink pram beside the desk. He thought of the hot topic in the company group not long ago, and his expression became subtle. Su Yiyen helped Zai Zai hold the milk bottle with one hand and patted the little guy with the other to prevent him from choking. Hearing the voice, he raised his head and looked at Xia Junqing. What's the matter? Xia Junqing hesitated for a moment. In the end, he couldn't overcome his curiosity and asked seriously, You brought the child to the company? Something happened at home yesterday. I was worried about leaving the child at home, so I brought him here. As Su Yiyen spoke, she seemed to have thought of something. She said awkwardly, Is there a company rule against bringing children here? I didn't think too much about it before. Ahem, that's all for today. I'll see what I can do tomorrow. I promise I won't let him disturb you or delay your work. When Xia Junqing heard her words, he couldn't help but laugh. The company doesn't say that you can't bring children here. Moreover, your office is independent, and the soundproofing is good. He won't disturb others. I don't mean anything else. I'm just a little curious about your baby. To be precise, many of the company's employees are very curious about your baby. Now, they are discussing how to form a team to sneak up and steal the baby. Su Yiyen's hands paused. She almost thought that she had heard wrongly. The company's many employees. Chapter 858. Some people saw you pushing the trolley up and sent it to the company's group chat. Now many people are eyeing your baby covetously. Why did she feel like she had just escaped the tiger's den and entered the wolf's den? Su Yiyen glanced at the little guy who was drinking milk with his eyes narrowed. Baby, you are so popular. People want to steal you wherever you go. However, Su Yiyen also knew that the verbal theft of these people in the company was different from the theft yesterday. She only snorted jokingly. Assign more work to them. When they are busy, they won't have time to think about my baby. Xia Junqing was amused by her words and echoed, That makes sense. Su Yiyen glanced at him suspiciously and asked with a smile, Brother Junqing, are you also a member of the child-stealing team? No. I'm just here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that Dancing Red will be completed at the end of this month. The artists in the company have fewer scenes, but most of them have already returned. So soon. Have you arranged the things I asked you to arrange before? It's all arranged. Xia Junqing paused and said thoughtfully, In addition, there is a more important thing that I think it is necessary to tell you in advance. What is it? Ning Chirue is in love. Su Yiyen froze and exclaimed after she reacted, What did you say? Ah. The little guy who was drinking milk was startled and was about to cry. Su Yiyen was shocked and couldn't care about anything else. She quickly stuffed the pacifier back into his mouth and patted him gently to coax him. Good boy, it's Mommy's fault. Mommy shouldn't have spoken so loudly and scared you. I'll pat you. Just pat you and you'll be fine. It was the first time Xia Junqing saw Su Yiyen coaxing a child, and he was a little absent-minded. Almost 2 years ago, when they first met, Su Yiyen in Xia Junqing's eyes was still a child who had just stepped into society. Who would have thought that 2 years later, this girl had quickly married and even had a child? The most heart-wrenching thing was that as her brother, he was still single. Su Yiyen didn't notice the complicated feelings in Xia Junqing's heart. It wasn't easy to coax the child, and a layer of cold sweat had already appeared on her forehead. Heaving a sigh of relief, he recalled the topic they had just discussed and continued to ask, With whom? Could it be you sure? It was no wonder that Su Yiyen's first reaction was these two people. They were really close in age and had similar family backgrounds. Most importantly, they had just worked together on the drama Dancing Red not long ago. After being in the same crew for so long, it was possible that feelings would develop over time. The tricky part was that whether it was Ning Chirue or Yu Yushir, they both came from talent shows and were considered to be popular. Logically speaking, they should not be able to find a boyfriend or girlfriend before they changed careers. Otherwise, it was very likely that it would be a fatal blow to their career. This should also be the main reason why Xia Junqing specifically mentioned this to Su Yiyan. Some companies would have a rigid rule in the early stage of the contract that artists could not be in a relationship for a few years after joining the company. This was to prevent the sudden exposure of a relationship from being too big of an impact, and all the early investments would be for naught. However, the situation of these two people was relatively special. They belonged to the type of people who would inherit the family business if they didn't properly mingle in the industry. The public relations department would probably be worried sick if they encountered this matter. Xia Junqing was silent for a moment and shook his head. No. No. It's Miss Xia Ningxi, the screenwriter of Dancing Red. Su Yiyan. Chapter 859. Su Yiyan was dumbfounded. When did these two hook up? After the important supporting male character broke away from the control of the pretentious female lead, he had his own new couple. She didn't even know about it. You mean Ning Chirue is dating Miss Xia Ningxi, the scriptwriter of Dancing Red? When did this happen? Who knows about it? The baby in the stroller seemed to be frightened by Su Yiyan's sudden raised voice. He pulled out the pacifier and pursed his lips. He was about to cry again. Su Yiyan's imposing manner suddenly weakened, and she hurriedly coaxed, "Mommy was wrong, Mommy was wrong. I won't scare you anymore. Don't cry, don't cry." After comforting the child, Su Yiyan looked up at Xia Junqing inquiringly again. Xia Junqing opened his mouth and was about to explain when there was another knock on the door. Who would come at this time? Su Yiyan frowned. Come in. The office door was opened. Su Yiyan looked up and was amused. Oh, you came at the right time. I was just talking about you. Speak of the devil. The people who came in were none other than Ning Chirue and Yu Yushir, whom Su Yiyan had just been talking about. Behind them was Yun Luoshan. Me? Ning Chirue, who was walking in front, looked around and pointed at himself with a blank face. What did you say about me? You said that a certain young master kept saying that he wanted to be in the entertainment industry and concentrate on his work. In the end, he only acted in one drama and hooked up with a girlfriend. He only wants to date and has no heart to work. When Ning Chirue heard her words, he probably guessed what she was talking about. He touched his nose guiltily and laughed. When fate comes, it can't be stopped. You can't let me watch the person I like slip away from me for the sake of my career and die alone. Su Yiyan almost laughed at his words. He said it in such a dignified manner. Those who didn't know better would think that he fell in love at first sight and would marry no one but her. If he missed this opportunity, he would really be single for the rest of his life. Oh, men, who knew what would happen in the future when they spoke sweet words and pledged their love? A lifetime was not short. Leniency to those who confess, severity to those who resist. Tell me, when did you two hook up? Ning Chirue chuckled. What do you mean by hooking up? It's too unpleasant to hear. Xiaoxi and I didn't have any feelings for each other at first sight, but we fell in love when we saw each other again. Speak human language. It's just that after interacting with her for a long time on set, I feel that she's a good person. She also has a good impression of me, and after a while, feelings blossomed, ha. Su Yiyan heard Ning Chirue's words and glanced at him with disdain. Look, other people joined the production team to work, but this guy used work as an excuse to pick up girls. He didn't do his job properly. As if sensing Su Yiyan's disdain, the corners of Ning Chirue's mouth twitched slightly. He felt wronged and said, although it's not good for me to be in a relationship during work hours, it doesn't affect my work. My performance in the drama is remarkable and worthy of recognition. Even director Luo praised me for my talent in this area. They can all testify to that. Yu Yushir and Yun Luoshan did not expect that they would be implicated in the drama. They were shocked and hurriedly said, "No, I didn't. We don't know anything." Ning Chirue was speechless. After all, they were colleagues who had been in the production team for several months. How could they sell out at this time? The snacks that he had asked the chef at home to send over for the past few months were ultimately paid for wrongly. Chapter 860. No one expected that the person who rescued Ning Chirue from this embarrassing situation was none other than the little guy in the stroller. Ah! There was only a thin layer of the milk bottle left, but little Xingxing took the initiative to pull out the pacifier. He opened his big eyes and waved his chubby little arms to ask for a hug. Su Yiyen's heart softened when she saw him like this. How could she still be in the mood to pursue someone for picking up girls on set? She put the milk bottle aside and picked up the baby. "Baby, are you full? Come, let mommy touch you." Su Yiyen touched the baby's frog belly as she spoke, causing the baby to giggle. When the little guy was just born, he was already close to 8 caddies. Over the past month, he had been eating and sleeping to his heart's content. He had been nourished until he was smooth and tender, white and plump. His pair of small hands were like lotus roots, jointed and jointed. Several people ran up at this time to take a look at the baby. When they saw Su Yiyen pick him up, their eyes lit up. Especially the 2 girls, their eyes lit up like light bulbs when they saw such a fair and well-behaved baby. Yun Luoshan was more shy. No matter how much she liked the baby, she was too embarrassed to say it. However, Yu Yushir did not have such concerns. When she saw the legendary little prince of the boss's family, she subconsciously took a step forward and said happily, "Boss, is this your baby? He looks so cute. Can I hold him?" Su Yiyen glanced at her in surprise. Only then did Yu Yushir realize that her request seemed a little abrupt. She was hesitating whether to say something to remedy the situation when she heard Su Yiyen say, "Sure." Su Yiyen's straightforwardness was surprising. Yu Yushir was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. "Really? Of course." Su Yiyen looked helpless. Yu Yushir and the others were her employees, and they had a superior and subordinate relationship with her. She just wanted to hold her baby. She was not so petty. "Hold him here." "Yes, slow down. Hold him here." Very good." Su Yiyen corrected her hand gesture as she carefully placed the baby in her hand. It was probably Yu Yushir's first time coming into contact with such soft little creatures. Her entire body stiffened, but her heart was soaring with excitement. "He's so soft, so small, and so fragrant." Pfft. Su Yiyen couldn't help but burst out laughing. Yu Yushir also knew that what she said was very silly. Her face was slightly red, but she still stubbornly said, "It's true. It smells like milk. It's fragrant." The corner of Ning Chirue's mouth twitched when he heard Yu Yushir's words. "I suspect that you'll bite him in the next second. Strange auntie. Don't think that I won't beat you up just because you're the young master of the Ning family. Come on, who's afraid of who?" Su Yiyen looked at the 2 people who could quarrel with just a few words and suddenly realized how naive he was to think that the 2 of them would become a couple. Yun Luoshan was not surprised that the 2 of them would quarrel whenever they met. She reached out to poke the baby's little face, but the baby grabbed her finger instead. Yun Luoshan was shocked. For a moment, she didn't know whether to pull her hand back or continue poking. Su Yiyen turned her head and saw her baby grabbing the beautiful young lady's finger and giggling. She froze for a moment and chuckled softly. "The baby seems to like you very much." Yun Luoshan looked at the child and couldn't help but touch the back of her head and giggle. "Maybe I'm more popular with children." Chapter 861. "No, it should be because you're younger, and the generation gap between you and the baby is smaller." The two older people were at a loss for words as they quarreled over such a trivial matter. They felt like they had been implicated. At this age, the baby was not afraid of strangers and did not cry or make a fuss when he was held in the arms of strangers. The well-behaved baby was always particularly popular. At first, Yu Yushir and the others were a little restrained, but later, they began to tease the baby with various small toys in the stroller. It was worth mentioning that when girls, especially beautiful girls like Yun Luoshan, teased him, the little guy would laugh very happily. However, when it came to Ning Chirue or Xia Junsheng, the baby would only stare at them with his big black grape-like eyes with an innocent face. Ning Chirue did not believe it. He made faces, rang the bell, and tried all the toys in the stroller, but he did not get a smile from the baby. Yu Yushir picked up a small rattle and turned it around. The tinkling sound instantly attracted the child's attention. The baby stared at the rattle for a long time, then suddenly opened his mouth and revealed a big smile. Oh, he smiled, he smiled. His smile is so cute. He hasn't even grown teeth yet. His teeth are pink and soft. Ha 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 ha, the happier Yu Yushir laughed, the more depressed Ning Chirue was. He finally couldn't help but stand up and say angrily, "Damn, I suspect that he's sexist." Su Yiyen did not expect her baby to know how to treat girls, especially beautiful girls, differently at such a young age. When he grew up, he would probably be a Huahua prince who went around coaxing little girls. It must be that the baby's father was too indecent when she was pregnant. He must have led the baby astray by sweet-talking all day long. Achoo! Hua Qinhuan, who was busy confirming Hua Qihan's whereabouts with Gu Xiaoyang and the others, suddenly felt an itch in her nose and sneezed in front of several subordinates. This sudden change made the originally serious atmosphere in the conference room become subtle in an instant. After a moment of silence, Zui Yanbai asked with concern, "Did you catch a cold?" "No." Hua Qinhuan rubbed her nose and smiled. "It should be Yan Yan and the baby who are thinking about me. The three of them." They were caught off guard by a mouthful of dog food. Could single dogs have some human rights? Have you found out where Hua Qihan is? Yu Zian raised his eyebrows and a malicious smile appeared on his face. Isn't it easy to find out where he is? He has a moving time bomb by his side. As long as you want it to explode, you can make it explode whenever you want. Hearing his words, Gu Xiaoyang could not help but squint his eyes and say sarcastically, he even brought her along when he was fleeing. It seems that he really loves her. Husband and wife are birds in the same forest, but when disaster strikes, they fly separately. Even an old couple was like this, not to mention a couple like them who had left home halfway through their marriage. He treats her as his true love. I'm afraid she wants to kill him every minute. Zui Yanbai turned to look at Hua Qinhuan. Young master, do you want to inform the police now? Since the three of them knew that Hua Qihan had bribed the people in the old mansion to steal their little prince, they were all eager to rush to Hua Qihan and press him to the ground. Hua Qinhuan pondered for a moment and chuckled. Send someone to keep an eye on them and inform the police of their whereabouts. By the way, inform Hua Qihan that the police already know his whereabouts. Chapter 862. The three of them looked at each other in surprise. Inform him. Then wouldn't he run away in advance? That's why I asked you to keep an eye on him. Hua Qinhuan glanced at the three of them. Let someone inform the police every time you find a place to stay. Let him run away before they catch him. You want to let him run around like a rat crossing the street, without a fixed place to stay? To wear down his willpower. What willpower can he have now? Hua Qinhuan sneered, her eyes full of coldness and disdain. Hiding from place to place like a shameful animal. Every time you think you finally have a safe place to stay, you're immediately discovered. Once or twice is fine, but if it happens a few more times, or a dozen times, what will you do? I'll go crazy. Compared to being hopeless at the beginning, being disappointed again and again with subtle hope, and finally discovering that the so-called hope was just an illusion, complete despair was the most torturous and the most devastating. If Hua Qihan was a rat, then their young master was a cat. The rat that fled in panic always thought that it could escape and see the light again. Little did it know that when it fell into the cat's trap, it had already become a turtle in a jar. No matter how it struggled, it was doomed to be punished. After Zui Yanbai understood this, his whole body shook, and he said solemnly, "I know what to do." Hua Chenhuan looked up and glanced at him. "Keep an eye on him. I don't want the same thing to happen again." As soon as these words came out, the three of them felt their scalps tighten. Hua Chenhuan only told Su Yiyan that Hua Qihan had bribed the courier and stalled the nanny at home to buy time for the woman to commit the crime. But she didn't tell her that Hua Qihan had something to do with the woman's son's gambling and debt. The woman didn't lie about this matter. Her husband died young, and she raised the child alone. The family Hua gave her a high salary, so it wasn't difficult for her to raise the child alone. However, because the child did not have a father, she always felt that she owed her son. She spent all her hard-earned money on her son, but she forgot that there were some things that money could not make up for. She thought that her selfless dedication did not earn her son's gratitude. Instead, it made him become extravagant, extremely vain, and fond of competing with others. Hua Qihan took advantage of this and easily pulled him into the fire pit. He used this as a breakthrough point to bribe that woman. Ever since Hua Chenhuan took over the Hua Corporation and drove Hua Qihan out, she had been sending people to secretly monitor his every move. However, his subordinates had not noticed anything that he had done. This was what made Hua Chenhuan angry. This was a dereliction of duty on the part of those who were sent to spy on them, as well as the negligence of the three of them. They could only pray that Hua Qihan would be made more miserable so that Hua Chenhuan would be a little less angry. They could also atone for their mistakes. Su Yiyan did not know about the little episode here. When she heard Ning Chirue's complaint, she solemnly exonerated her son. Like repel, opposites attract. This is the law of nature. It's undeniable that your face is indeed a little handsome according to a girl's aesthetic, but this doesn't mean that you can attract both men and women and make boys like you. Let me give you a simple example. Brother Junsheng, do you like him? Xia Junsheng, who was suddenly called out, said. No. See, he doesn't like you either. This has nothing to do with gender discrimination. It's only about yourself. Ning Chirue was speechless. After all this time, it was still my fault. Chapter 863. Ning Chirue, who was treated differently by the child and inexplicably took the blame, shut himself up on the spot. Xia Junsheng had other work to deal with, so he left first. The baby hit it off with Yun Luoshan. With her coaxing the child, Su Yiyan could also take some time to comfort the old employees of the company. I thought that after what happened before, your sister wouldn't let you continue to stay in this circle. Yu Yushir was stunned, and it took her a while to realize that Su Yiyan was talking to her. Although my sister is worried about me, she also dotes on me. As long as it's something I decide, she rarely interferes. So, you've made up your mind to continue down this path? I didn't want to quit. Yu Yushir looked a little disappointed when she said this. I don't have any other strengths. My sister is in charge of the family and the company. Even if I enter the company, I'll only drag her down. It's better to find something else to do. Besides, it's not easy for me to make friends. She's so soft-hearted. If I'm not around, who knows if she'll be bullied. I didn't expect you to have some self-awareness. Before Yu Yushir finished speaking, Ning Chirue interrupted with a faint smile. Yu Yushir was so angry that she almost jumped up and hit him. You still have the nerve to talk about me? Aren't you the same? Ning Chirue was at a loss for words. He touched his nose and said embarrassedly, Okay, I can't talk about you. I'm the same as you. My brother is in charge of the family. I'm not cut out for business. I can't do anything since I was young. I can only eat and wait for death. Yu Yusher did not expect him to say this. After a long time, she said, "Oh, you know yourself quite well." Well, the words that someone said a minute ago were thrown back at him. Then the two of them glared at each other for a long time. Suddenly, they sighed and lowered their heads like two defeated roosters. Su Yiyen watched the two of them go back and forth and found it quite interesting. As the youngest in the family, she could understand their feelings. As the youngest child in the family, most of them were the most favored one, but the most favored one did not mean that they were the best one. Other children were often compared, let alone this kind of child who was raised in the same family. Even if their family members did not compare them, outsiders would still gossip about them. Fortunately, the family loved the child enough and taught him well. They didn't raise the child astray. Otherwise, who knows how the family would have become restless. Are the two of you so unambitious? TSK, no wonder you can't do anything. Yu Yusher and Yu Yusher did not expect Su Yiyen to not comfort them and even hit them when they were down. They immediately raised their heads and glared at Su Yiyen. Su Yiyen was not afraid of them. He snorted coldly and said, "Rely on your face to make a living?" She had to have a face that was prettier than others first. Also, do you really think you can act in Director Luo's drama just because you have a face? Do you really think that our company's long-term contract is something that anyone can sign casually? Are you looking down on me? Or are you looking down on Director Luo? Yu Yusher and Ning Chirue were both stunned and did not know how to answer for a moment. Seeing that the two of them did not speak, Su Yiyen snorted again and said ruthlessly, "From tomorrow, no, from this afternoon, I will ask Brother Junxing to arrange a few more classes for you. Take advantage of your free time to learn a few more things. With real talent, who would dare to say that you rely on your face to make a living? Isn't it good to be a young master and a young lady? You only know how to let your imagination run wild. I think you're all too free and spoiled." Chapter 864. When Ning Chirue heard that he still had to attend classes after entering the company, he felt a headache coming on. He begged for mercy with a bitter face, "No, no, no. Let me earn a living with my face. I like to earn a living with my face. I've been lying at home for so long. I have to take those bitter medicine every day and receive all kinds of treatment. Now that I've finally recovered, I can't overwork myself. I've just recovered from a serious illness. You've arranged so many classes for me at once. What if I get sick from exhaustion again? Me too, me too. Although my leg has recovered, it's still very fragile. The doctor also said that I have to recuperate well and not overwork myself. Let's just forget about the classes, shall we?" Su Yiyen looked at the two people who were avoiding her like the plague. She raised her chin slightly and chuckled, "Now you're afraid. It's too late. I'm the one who treated your illness. Your leg injury only looks serious. Young people recover quickly. You've been recuperating for more than half a year and are as strong as bulls. I'm just asking you to attend a few more classes. I'm not asking for your lives." There's no room for discussion. The two of them opened their mouths and wanted to refuse. Su Yiyen narrowed her eyes and dared to bare her teeth and threaten them before they could speak. "If you continue, I'll add a few more classes." The two of them knew that she might really say it. They were instantly discouraged and secretly cursed in their hearts. Bad boss, Zhou Yan, evil capitalist, exploiter. While the two of them were depressed, Yun Luoshan held a sky-blue ball in her hand. She turned her head and asked Su Yiyen hesitantly, "Su. President Su, can I take a picture with the baby?" Su Yiyen's lips curled slightly. She left the two fuming people behind and walked to the other side of the stroller. She touched her baby's soft and meaty little hand and said, "Sure." Yun Luoshan's eyes lit up slightly. Yu Yusher also recovered from her initial depression. She walked to her side and skillfully put her arms on her shoulders like a koala hugging a tree. Can I post it online? Yes, but you can't show your face. Understood. Thank you, boss. Su Yiyen was so angry that she almost laughed. At this time, she knew that she was her boss. When Ning Chirue heard that the two girls wanted to take a photo with the baby, he did not want to be left out and came over to take a photo. They stayed in Su Yiyen's office for about an hour. They were worried that they might affect Su Yiyen's work, so they left. Before she left, Yu Yushir mysteriously moved closer to Su Yiyen. Actually, my sister agreed to let me stay. Other than me wanting to stay, there's another reason. What is the reason? It's you, boss. Me? That's right. My sister said that although our company is small, boss, you look like the kind of person who is very protective of people. As long as I don't cause any trouble and work hard to make money for the company. Even if someone dares to bully me, boss, you will definitely protect me and not let anyone bully me. After all, I'm from the East City. Before you hit a dog, you have to look at its owner. Su Yiyen looked at Yu Yushir with a subtle expression. So, you think you're a dog? Yu Yushir, it's just a metaphor, a metaphor. Oh. Yu Yushir was stunned. Just an, oh, and nothing else. This reaction was not right. She had sacrificed so much and self-deprecated to the point that her race had changed. Shouldn't someone be a little more touched? As if reading Yu Yushir's inner thoughts, Su Yiyen chuckled. Don't think that you can skip class by saying something nice. I'll ask Brother Junsheng to send you the class schedule later. Have a good class, otherwise. F***ck, her flattery was for nothing. Chapter 865. Since Su Yiyen said that she could post the photo online, Yu Yushir naturally would not let go of such a good opportunity to show off her baby. She simply edited the photo, blocked the baby's small face with a big yellow sun, and posted it with a caption. The boss brought the little prince to the company for an inspection today. The little prince is super cute. His little face is chubby and has small dimples. He smiles when I tease him. He looks like a little angel. Not only did Yu Yushir post it herself, but she also wanted Yun Luoshan to accompany her. Of course, Yun Luoshan would not refuse her pleas. She followed up with a similar post, but the picture blocking the baby in the group photo was replaced with an oversized sunflower. The two of them had a wave of fun showing off other people's babies and put this matter to the back of their minds. They did not expect that it would cause a storm of public opinion after this. Not long after Yun Luoshan posted this post, Ning Chirue happened to post a similar post. In the photo, a particularly large pink heart was used to block the baby's big face. Because of this heart, the anti-fans who saw Ning Chirue's post instantly had other thoughts. So, half an hour later, Ning Chirue and Yun Luoshan's agents called each of them at the same time to ask them what was going on with the post on the internet. What do you mean what's going on? It literally means that the boss brought the little prince to the company today. I had nothing to do, so I went up to take a look, played with the baby, took a picture, and posted it to my fans. What happened? Nothing else? What else can there be? Go and see for yourself. Someone stared at your photo and created a scandal for you. Scandal? Ning Chirue was extremely shocked. He did not understand how he could create a scandal after just posting a post. As a result, Ning Chirue was completely dumbfounded. He, and Yun Luoshan. See? How did I get involved with Yun Luoshan? Although we are in the same company, I haven't spoken more than 5 sentences to her. How could this cause a scandal? It's all your fault for the picture in your post. You could have posted any picture, but you had to post a heart. You're an adult, don't you know the meaning of love? Ning Chirue was shocked. He did not expect that a small picture he had casually posted would make people think in that direction. She was really bored. I didn't think too much about it. I just thought that the boss's children were really cute. I really liked them, so I pasted a heart pattern on them. Who knew that they would? Instead of being comforted, Ning Chirue's agent became even angrier. Can't you use your brain before you do anything? You think that you're pasting the heart because you like the little crown prince, but in the eyes of others, you're confessing to the child's mother. The child's mother? Wasn't it Yun Luoshan? How is it related to the boss again? You took a picture of the boss doll and pasted the doll's face. How can it not be related to the boss? It's also thanks to your fans that you've pulled the wind towards Yun Luoshan. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the scandal between you and Yun Luoshan that's hanging on the news right now. Instead, it would be the breaking news that you've been suspected of cheating on your boss's husband. Ning Chirue. What the hell? I didn't, don't talk nonsense. I'm innocent with the boss. Chapter 866. It turned out that not long after Ning Chirue posted that post, his opponent's anti-fans and Dongqing's internet water army were collectively mobilized. They began to shift the topic to Ning Chirue's relationship with President Su, the boss of Dongqing University, and whether the two had any personal relationship. They then extended to whether Ning Chirue and Su Yayan had any relationship beyond that of a superior and subordinate. They even suspected that this child might be the product of Su Yayan's affair. After all, before this, there were rumors that although Su Yiyan's husband's legs had recovered, he might not be able to function well in certain aspects. Who knew if this child was a cuckold? However, in the eyes of Ning Chirue's fans, these comments were the worst rumors and framing. Their brother was so good and outstanding. How could he be a third party when he knew that she was a married woman? Moreover, this child looked to be 2 or 3 months old. Back then, their brother was still sick and actively cooperating with the treatment. Even so, they still spread rumors that he had an affair with the boss and destroyed the boss's family. These internet water army anti-fans were really heartless. What's more, are all of you scum who spread rumors blind? Their female colleague from the same company as them had posted a similar status a few minutes ago. Why did she focus on their brother alone? Did they really think that their brother was easy to bully? The rebuttals from the fans were reasonable and well-founded. They directly hammered down this rumor that was full of mistakes and loopholes. It couldn't even float anymore. The anti-fans and internet water army were really unwilling to let such a great opportunity slip away from their hands. Since they could not start the rumor that Ning Chirue and Su Yiyan's relationship was not simple, they turned to Yun Luoshan and Ning Chirue's post. They began to vaguely hint that the relationship between the two was ambiguous and suspected of exposing their relationship. Ning Chirue figured out the whole story and was dumbfounded. Wait a minute, are they too blind? Look at the time of the post. It's obvious that Yu Yushir was the first to post. Why are the two of us being spread rumors while she was the first to post it? When the agent heard this, his eyebrows raised. What? You still want to have a scandal with her? How is that possible? I have a girlfriend. Oh, you're proud of having a girlfriend behind my back, aren't you? No. Humph. The manager snorted. The reason why the rumors spread about you and Yun Luoshan is because you and her are slightly more famous. Although Ning Chirue had disappeared from the public eye for more than half a year due to his treatment, he had already debuted and had a certain fan base before that. He was considered a popular young star that the company had promoted. As for Yun Luoshan, because the previous variety show came to the end, she temporarily formed a small girl group with 2 other female artists in the company. They signed a 1-year contract, which was about to expire soon. Because of the talent show, Dongqing City was considered a relatively large investor. In the end, they formed a group. Although it was only for a year, Dongqing City gave a lot of resources to this small group. Therefore, Yun Luoshan had accumulated some fame in about a year. No matter what, she was more popular than Yu Yushir, who had been injured for 100 days and was forced to withdraw from the show due to her injury. Ning Chirue's scandal was obviously caused by the other companies. In that case, of course, they had to choose two more famous companies to deal with. To put it bluntly, red was the original sin. If it wasn't red, it would be a protective color. Who cared who got it first? Ning Chirue, who had learned the truth, was speechless. He did not know whether to sympathize with her or envy her. Chapter 867. Like Ning Chirue, Yu Yushir and Yun Luoshan also received the news one after another after the incident on the internet. After learning that the Internet Water Army's anti-fans had skipped her and paired Yun Luoshan and Ning Chirue together, Yu Yushir was in a bad mood. It's a three-person movie, but I don't deserve to have a name. Why? Under the explanation of her and Yun Luoshan's common manager, the two of them understood the twists and turns in this matter, and the atmosphere suddenly became subtle. Yun Luoshan, Yu Yushir, so what if she was a mess? She was a mess now, not forever. When her new drama came out, she must ruthlessly slap the faces of these snobs who worshipped the powerful and trampled on the weak. Sister Yushir. Yun Luoshan looked at Yu Yushir nervously and worriedly, afraid that she would be angry because of this matter. Yu Yushir was indeed angry, but not at her. Why are you looking at me like that? Although these Internet Water Army marketing accounts that stir up trouble all day long and wish for the world to be in chaos are indeed annoying, if it weren't for you in front of me, there would be rumors about me and that idiot Ning Chirue. Ugh. I'm afraid I would die of disgust. The disdain on Yu Yushir's face was too obvious. Yun Luoshan chuckled, and her heart was also relieved. The manager was also amused by the two of them. Did the two of you get the main point wrong? The focus now shouldn't be on how to deal with this matter. You too. The two of them blushed at her words, but soon Yu Yushir frowned and complained, these people really have nothing better to do. It's just two photos, and they're even photos with the child, and they can relate it to a romance. Besides, even if these people are blind and can't see me, they actually turned a blind eye to such a big and cute baby in the photo. That's the little prince, the boss's little prince. If the child is there, the child's mother will naturally be there too. Which artiste would dance in front of the boss when they're in love? Do they want to die fast enough? Isn't looking at photos and writing words the best at this group of people? What can't they do for popularity? Not to mention that the timing of your development was coincidental, even if you were to develop it separately, they would still be able to give you a seamless fit. Do you believe me? At this point, the manager could not help but roll his eyes. As for that little doll, in our eyes, it's a little prince, but in the eyes of these vampires, it's the same model. This proves that the two of them have been in the same frame before. Yun Luoshan. Using the little crown prince as the same model, should she sigh at how imaginative these people were, or should she marvel at how audacious they were? Yu Yushir choked, and the disgust in her eyes intensified. What should we do now? Don't you think it's too late to ask this now? The manager glanced at Yu Yushir in disdain and sighed. The public relations department has already thought of an appropriate solution. The two of them looked at each other and asked curiously, what is it? The idea that the public relations department came up with, or rather, it was proposed by some of the artistes in the company who were itching to go to the office to see the little prince. It was very simple, and that was to make the sunbathing of the baby into the company's collective welfare event. Weren't those paid posters blind and could not see Yu Yushir? Then find a few people who were similar to Ning Chirue, or even higher than him, to go to Su Yiyen's office to take a photo with the child and post it. It would be a waste not to take advantage of the popularity that came knocking on their door. Since it had already come to this point, it was just the right time to create a collective hype for the entire company. Chapter 868. As a result, at least 20 people came in and out of Su Yiyen's office that morning. The threshold was almost broken. From popular actors like Luo Weibing and Xue Kaiwei to new artistes like Zheng Qiuying and Huang Zitong, the originally bright office was like a cave. Su Yiyen looked at these people who were staring at her baby with shining eyes. She only felt that her baby was like the meat of Tang Seng on the chopping board, surrounded by a group of demons and ghosts who were drooling over it. That scene was not an ordinary eyesore. Fortunately, there weren't many popular artistes in the company at this time. Some of the artistes who could vaguely see the benefits of this hype also wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to share a piece of the pie and take advantage of the popularity. Unfortunately, they were stopped before they could go up. The reason was, what's the use of going up? Didn't you see that even if a certain someone posted, those marketing accounts would pretend that they didn't see anything? You're not even as famous as her. You'll only be asking for humiliation if you go up. Stop it. This caused many artistes to resent Yu Yushir. They didn't resent her for being lucky, but for being useless. If she could work harder and let those marketing accounts who looked down on people create a love triangle topic, it would prove that small artistes like them also had public opinion value. They might be able to follow her up today and take advantage of the popularity. Sigh, after learning the truth, a certain someone who felt that she had been shot even though she was lying down. I've given you guys face, but you can't blame yourself for not being able to take advantage of the popularity. You're blaming me for not being able to take advantage of it. I'm so angry. It was worth mentioning that because of this photo incident, Su Yiyen saw another pillar of the company for the first time since she joined the company, Heavenly King Hong Hui. This Heavenly King, who had been crowned as a king in the music industry 4 or 5 years ago, was only in his early 30s. He looked very upright and had a cold temperament that kept people thousands of miles away. He had only debuted for 7 or 8 years, but the reason why he was able to defeat a bunch of seniors and quickly become a king was because, other than his handsome face that even anti-fans couldn't get mad at, he was extremely exaggerated. Even now, no one could match his wide vocal range. Su Yiyen had seen this person's profile and thought that he was a cold and aloof person who was not easy to get along with. However, when she really got to know him, she realized that under his cold and aloof appearance, there might not be a cold and aloof soul. He could also be hiding a simple-minded person. When Hong Hui went upstairs, Su Yiyen had just sent off a group of young ladies who had come to see the baby. She pointed at her son's little nose and complained, "Little pervert, you only know how to smile at the young ladies and ignore the young men. When you grow up, you'll definitely be a playboy." Ah ha! Little Xingxing thought that his mother was playing with him. He kicked his little legs and giggled. It was at this moment that Hong Hui entered Su Yiyen's office. Hearing the child's tender laughter, this cool guy who was known as the dream lover of countless fangirls blinked and stopped in his tracks. When Su Yiyen heard the noise, he looked up and saw someone standing at the door. He asked uncertainly, "Hong Hui?" Although she had never seen him in person, she had seen his photos. "Yes. Do you have something to say?" "I came up to see the child." Su Yiyen didn't doubt him. She thought that his agent had heard about the things on the internet and asked him to come over to help. "The child is here. Luo Weibing and the others just played with him for a while. I saw that he was a little sleepy. If you came later, the baby might have fallen asleep." Chapter 869. Hong Hui nodded and walked to the side of the pram. Looking at the soft little guy inside, his originally cold and hard eyes gradually softened. Su Yiyen saw this scene, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Before he could say anything, he heard a burst of cheerful laughter. The two adults in the room were stunned. Su Yiyen looked at his own child for the first time, and confirmed that he was really smiling at Hong Hui. He was deeply surprised. "Child, you're smiling. Look carefully, this is a little brother, not a little sister." Little Xingxing turned a deaf ear to him and smiled even more happily. Su Yiyen looked at him and then at Hong Hui standing on the other side of the stroller. He finally confirmed that his child was really smiling at him. This was strange. "Xingxing seems to like you very much. So many people came and went today, but he only smiled at girls and only stared at boys. No matter how much I teased him, he didn't smile. Even when Luo Weibing, who looked the most handsome, just held him. He didn't smile. He just reached out and patted his face. Unexpectedly, he made an exception for Hong Hui. At the thought of this, Su Yiyen's eyes couldn't help but stay on Hong Hui's face for a while. He didn't quite understand what his child saw in this person. If someone with a more sensitive mind heard Su Yiyen's words, they might think that the little guy didn't know people and mistook him for a girl. Hong Hui was not such a person. When he heard Su Yiyen's words, his eyes lit up and he asked carefully, "Can I hold him?" The little guy was held 2 or 3 times today. Su Yiyen didn't want people to touch him again, but the little guy obviously liked Hong Hui very much. Su Yiyen hesitated for a moment and agreed, "Yes." But some people's next requests began to become strange. "Can I touch him?" "Yes." "Can't you touch him after you hold him?" "Then can I kiss him?" "This. It's best not to." "Oh. Then can I take him home?" "Su Yiyen." "No." "Oh, Su Yiyen. What are you trying to do by looking so reluctant and pitiful? Those who don't know might think that my child is yours. You shameless strange uncle, stay away from my baby." Just as Su Yiyen raised the alarm and was ready to drive this child thief out of the office, a figure hurriedly ran in from the outside. The moment he saw Hong Hui, he was helpless and angry. "You really are here?" When he saw the child in Hong Hui's arms, he was so scared that he almost lost his soul. "Why are you carrying a child? Put the child down, put him down." When Su Yiyen heard his words, she became even more nervous. Could it be that this guy really had the tendency to steal children? Just as he was about to snatch the child back, he heard Hong Hui's manager shout in confusion, "Ah, the little prince actually didn't cry." This shout startled the baby, who was about to fall asleep with his eyes closed, and he opened his eyes in a daze. Hong Hui's expression changed slightly. He hurriedly and clumsily shook the child, and his sharp eyes flew towards the manager. Su Yiyen was also a little unhappy. She frowned and said, "My baby doesn't like to cry. Do you have a problem with that?" Hong Hui's manager. "What's going on? I just came up to stop this black-faced god and save an innocent child from suffering. How did I become the bad guy? This development is not right." Chapter 870. The manager was stunned for a few seconds before he finally understood the situation. He said awkwardly, "Hello, Mr. Su. I'm Hong Hui's manager, Su Yangwei." Su Yiyen was stunned. "Yang Wei?" Su Yangwei's expression stiffened. He tried to explain, "Yang from a poplar tree, and Wei from a great one. My father's surname is Su, and my mother's surname is Yang. They hope that I can be a great person in the future, so they gave me this name." "Oh." Su Yiyen looked at him sympathetically. "You've worked hard all these years." Su Yangwei almost cried on the spot. All these years, because of this name, he had to bear everything by himself. "So, you two have a fight?" "Ahem, no. I'm just afraid that he'll come up and make the child cry." Su Yiyen was slightly stunned. "Make the child cry?" Su Yangwei glanced at Hong Hui, who was hugging little Xingxing, and said awkwardly, "It's like this. Don't be fooled by Hong Hui's tall and stern appearance. Actually, he really likes children. But children didn't like him. Those ignorant little brats who had just been born not long ago didn't know anything. How could they know whether a man was handsome or not? When they saw his sullen face, they immediately cried loudly. They didn't even dare to open their eyes, let alone let him hold them. He was like an ancient killing machine used to stop children from crying at night. I've heard about the small artists in the company. The public relations department also called me and asked if Hong Hui was willing to come up and join in the fun." Su Yangwei said with a bitter expression. "Of course, Hong Hui is willing. But if he puts his face in front of the little prince, who knows? Would the little prince cry on the spot? There was no parent who didn't love their children. Even if Su Yiyan was reasonable and knew that he couldn't blame Hong Hui for this. But if it really came to this point, it wouldn't look good on anyone. It would be better if he didn't come up in the first place. However, he didn't expect that after he had told a certain someone to stop him from going upstairs, the person would disappear in the blink of an eye. Su Yangwei reacted quickly and rushed upstairs immediately. However, he didn't expect that what he was worried about didn't happen. Instead, he saw the little prince lying obediently in Hong Hui's arms and yawning. The scene was actually a little warm. What the hell? After listening to Su Yangwei's explanation, Su Yiyan knew that Hong Hui only liked children and did not have any ulterior motives. She was relieved. The baby likes him quite a lot. He wasn't scared by him. He even smiled at him just now. When Su Yangwei heard Su Yiyan's words, he was a little surprised. He thought to himself that the little prince was indeed the little prince. He was braver than the average child. He was not afraid of the black-faced god at all. After figuring out the whole story, Su Yiyan glanced at the baby who was sleeping soundly in Hong Hui's arms with a subtle expression. She didn't expect that this seemingly serious and cold man who could sweep away the hearts of many girls would have the potential to be a stay-at-home dad. The baby is asleep. Give him back to me. As Su Yiyan spoke, she reached out to Hong Hui and asked him to return the child to her. Hong Hui looked at the child and then looked at Su Yiyan. He didn't move. He likes me. Hong Hui reluctantly moved little Xingxing to Su Yiyan at a speed that was almost invisible to the naked eye. He didn't give up and said, "Can't I carry him home?" Chapter 871. The blue veins on Su Yiyan's forehead bulged. Without thinking, she snatched the child back. No. After saying that, she still felt that it was not enough to vent her anger. She added fiercely, "Give birth to it yourself." As soon as Su Yiyan said that, the atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Just when Su Yiyan felt a little guilty and felt that her words were too heartless, she heard Hong Hui say faintly, "I can't give birth to it." When someone said this, his eyes were still staring in the direction of little Xingxing. He looked like a large dog that could not get its favorite toy and wanted to pounce on her son at any moment. Su Yiyan. Of course, you can't give birth to it alone. If you want to have a child, you have to find a girlfriend first. A single dog without a girlfriend dares to think about the baby. You want to eat sh*t? Get out of here. Su Yiyan was once again sure that although this person had no malice toward her baby, he was also the super reserve in the whole company who was most likely to steal a child. In order to prevent her child from being stolen, after Hong Hui took a photo with her child, Su Yiyan decisively asked Su Yangwei to take the child away quickly with her eyes. Fortunately, Su Yangwei was quite helpful. He dragged the big silly boy away, who wanted to take root in Su Yiyan's office and looked back repeatedly as he left. After the uninvited guest left, the office finally returned to its original tranquility. Su Yiyan breathed a long sigh of relief. Looking at the baby sleeping soundly in the stroller, she pinched his chubby little leg and smiled faintly. "You little guy are quite charming. You've only been here for a day and you've already caused me so much trouble. It seems that I can't bring you to the company often in the future. You know how to attract bees and butterflies at such a young age. What will happen when you grow up?" Woo! In his sleep, little Xingxing struggled a little to show his resistance. It was unknown whether it was because he was uncomfortable being caught or because he did not agree with Su Yiyan's words. Seeing this, Su Yiyan felt helpless and amused. She leaned over and kissed him fiercely. At that time, Dongqing City's public relations had begun to take effect. Luo Weibing, Xue Kaiwei, Huang Zitong and others jumped out one after another to participate in the photo-sharing activity. Even Hong Hui, whose public account was full of weeds all year round and he didn't get a single update for months, also joined in the fun. The fans of the artists were celebrating together. There was no need for the water army to guide them. Whether it was the fans or the passers-by, they all spontaneously characterized this photo posting as a group gathering of the company's employees. As the company's CEO, Su Yiyen brought her son to attend the event. Relying on her own abilities, she helped the little prince gather the high-definition autographs of all the well-known artists under her company for a group photo. At this time, no one continued to discuss the so-called relationship between Ning Chirue and Yun Luoshan. There were only a large number of corresponding artists and fans who were sour in the comments section of their idols. Sigh. In the past, I only knew that rich people fell quickly. Today, I finally know that rich people fall quickly. It's really unimaginable for us commoners. The little prince who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth was not even a year old, but he was able to take a group photo with his brothers and sisters in the company and debut in the center position. The girl who chased after him shed sour tears. Previous poster, you're wrong. Rich people might not be able to do this. At the end of the day, you still need a powerful mother. Look, Zai Zai, this is the country that mother has built for you. These little brothers and sisters are the harem that mother has prepared for you. Ha ha ha, it's that smell. Is it just my illusion? Why do I feel that my Hui Hui and the little prince's photo is particularly infatuated? The way they look at the baby is like frying chicken with warm oil. Brother, do you still remember your cold and domineering straight man persona? Chapter 872. It's not just your brother. The young men and women who took photos with the little prince all looked at him tenderly and infatuatedly, okay? A bunch of weird uncles and aunties. Let go of that kid and let me do it. Ha ha ha, President Su's kid is really cute and fat. I've been chasing after my idol for so many years, but I still can't get him. Is it because I lack such a cute kid? For a while, hashtag Dongqing artists group photo with the little prince hashtag StarChaser hashtag the youngest C in history hashtag I'm only one kid away from my idol hashtag, and other strange hashtags quickly climbed to the top of the real-time discussion list. Not only did it cover the previous so-called relationship discussion to the bottom, but it also allowed some artists in Dongqing, who had not appeared in public for various reasons, to come out and show their faces. They did not have to worry about being ridiculed and stepped on for hype. It was really killing three birds with one stone. Those rival companies who had intended to take this opportunity to smear the new blood of Dongqing were not stupid. Seeing that the trend was not right, they quickly stopped. Because they stopped in time, they did not suffer too much impact. It was just that they had spent a lot of manpower and financial resources to smear people in the early stage. In the end, they did not manage to smear people, but instead, they made a wedding dress for others. It was not easy to swallow this, so they could only silently suffer internal injuries. Luo Weibing, Xue Kaiwei, and Hong Hui were relatively important figures. Usually, any one of them was a relatively popular topic, not to mention that it involved Ning Chirue and the other freshmen. When the fans of various families gathered together, they attracted almost half of the traffic on the entire network. They occupied half of the discussion list, and it was difficult to ignore. As the overall person in charge of the live broadcast platform, Yu Zian had always been sensitive to such things. He had just finished a meeting with others when he saw these hot topics. He followed the clues and roughly understood the whole story. After that, he decisively integrated these news and pushed it to Hu Qinhuan. Hu Qinhuan received the message from Yu Zian and thought that he had found something again. When she clicked on it, she saw that her big baby's office had become a place for online celebrities to punch in, and her little baby had become a photo-taking tool for these stars. Hu Qinhuan. What did you guys do to my wife and child? What are these? Yu Zian didn't expect that Hu Qinhuan would directly video call him. He touched his nose guiltily and said with a smile, "Young madam took the little prince to the company today. I heard that all the artists in the company were very curious about the little prince. They all ran to young madam's office to see the little prince." In the end, without exception, they were all subdued by the little prince's charm. They took photos and posted them on the internet, causing a craze. Hua Qinhuan raised her eyebrows and asked, was it spontaneous or premeditated? It should have been spontaneous in the early stages, but it was used by some unscrupulous things and caused some trouble. These people were probably arranged by young madam's company on purpose. However, looking at the expressions of these people when they took photos with the little prince, they should be sincere. After all, the little crown prince is so cute and loves to smile. It's impossible for anyone not to like him. That was true. Hua Qinhuan looked a little better. No one disliked others praising their children, and Hua Qinhuan was no exception. However, his attention was quickly attracted by the first half of Yu Zian's sentence. Caused some trouble. What trouble? Chapter 873. Yu Zian thought back to the melon he ate not long ago, and the corners of his mouth twitched. This is a little complicated. I'll just send it to you directly. Yu Zian hung up the video call and ran away. He only sent the initial marketing draft to Hua Qinhuan. Hua Qinhuan clicked on it and saw that someone was spreading rumors that she had been cuckolded. Her face turned green. Su Yiyan took advantage of the time when the baby was asleep to deal with some backlog of work. Then, she saw her husband send her an emoticon. Yan Yan loves Hua the most in the world, Dun Dun loving little buttocks. JPG, Su Yiyan almost choked on her water when she saw the emoticon. She suddenly remembered that she had used Dun Dun to flirt with a certain someone when they first chatted. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, love by Yubiubiu, did you miss me? The system's background would change to Hua Hua and hearts based on the keywords typed by the person talking. Hua Qinhuan looked at the screen full of little hearts, and her eyes couldn't help but soften. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, what are you doing? Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, work. Puppy eyes begging for petting. JPG, as soon as Hua Qinhuan saw the puppy eyes, she couldn't help but think of Su Yiyan hugging the little guy, one big and one small looking at her with eager eyes. Her heart immediately melted into a puddle of water. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, petting dog head. JPG, do you have a lot of work? Don't tire yourself out. If you can't handle it, get your subordinates to help. If you don't want to work, go home. I'll make money to feed you and the baby. Other than the emoticon finally being a little richer, a certain someone's tone was still as serious as ever. But it was this seriousness that made people feel that he really took her to heart. Every word he said was not mixed with a trace of a joke. Su Yiyan's face was slightly red, but her eyes were astonishingly bright. Yan Yan who loves you most in the world, actually, it's okay. Baby can't do much with me around. I didn't do anything other than meeting a few people this morning. Hua who loves Yan Yan the most in the world, who did you meet? Su Yiyan didn't want to hide anything from Hua Qinhuan. He quickly told her everything that happened this morning. He even emphasized to Hua Qinhuan that Hong Hui was a reserve member who stole children. Yan Yan loves you most in the world, I've only heard of him before, but I've never seen him before. At first, he thought that he was a particularly cold and serious old cadre. Who would have thought that he was just a silly guy who wanted to steal other people's babies all day long? The Yan Yan who loves you the most, you don't know how outrageous he is. He held our baby and asked me if he could touch and kiss him. Our baby is only a month old. He kissed and touched the baby. Isn't he a pervert? Hua Qinhuan. Although it did sound a little outrageous, it was precisely because the baby was only a month old that adults thought it was cute that they wanted to kiss and touch him. In all fairness, he felt that the person who was called a pervert was a little wronged. Yan Yan who loves you the most in the world, that's not all. He even asked me if he could take the baby home twice. Our baby is not a toy. How can I let him take it home just because he said so? Yan Yan who loves you the most in the world, the baby is the same. Luo Weibing and the others tried their best to tease him and please him, but he didn't even want to move the corners of his mouth. But he smiled like a flower at this guy. I wonder if he has some masochistic tendencies. Hu Chenhuan. How can you talk about your own child like that? Chapter 874. Su Yiyan's complaints came one after another. Hu Chenhuan could feel her depression and jealousy through the screen. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world. Luckily, this little heartless boy was already asleep when he left. Otherwise, he might have really run away with someone else if I had said a few more words to coax him. Her sour words were full of resentment and sadness that her son was about to run away with someone else. Hu Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly. She had long forgotten about the unhappiness from before and comforted her instead. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, don't be angry. Maybe he's just curious because other children are afraid of him but our baby isn't. Our baby is still too young and doesn't know anything. When he's older and knows how to recognize people, he might cry like other babies when he sees him. When that happens, he'll definitely lose interest in our baby. Su Yiyan thought about it and felt that Hu Chenhuan's words made sense, but, Yan Yan loves you the most in the world. If that's the case, he seems a little pitiful. He likes children so much, but in the end, the child cries whenever he sees him. It's not easy for him to meet someone who isn't afraid of him, but when he's a little older, he'll be beaten back to his original state. TSK, what a pitiful man. Hu Chenhuan couldn't help but laugh when she saw this. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, so do you want him to think about our baby all the time and reach out to steal our baby at any time? Or do you want him to give up? Even though he's pitiful, at least he's safe. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world. Then let him continue to be pitiful. It was an expected answer, but she couldn't help but sympathize with a certain someone from the bottom of her heart. After listening to Su Yiyan's nagging, Hu Chenhuan recalled the rumors that Yu Zian had sent to her. Her eyes flickered slightly as she asked without leaving a trace. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world. I heard that you were surrounded when you took the baby to the company today. A lot of people even took photos of you and the baby and posted them online. The young master of the Ning family even caused some trouble because of this. Su Yiyan immediately smelled a hint of jealousy from Hu Chenhuan's subtle probing. She thought of how those internet celebrities, who wanted to stir up trouble, had slandered her and Ning Chirui in the beginning, and there was a hint of a smile in her eyes. Yan Yan who loves you most in the world, jealous? Hua loves Yan Yan most in the world, baby is angry. JPG, Hua who loves Yan Yan the most in the world, yeah. Yan Yan who loves you the most in the world, don't be angry, those are all fake. Don't you know whose child the baby is? Hands on hips, Hua who loves Yan Yan the most in the world, of course I know that. I just don't like other men's names being listed together with yours. You even saved him and helped him. Who knows what he thinks of you? Hu Chenhuan did not think so much at first, but now, the more he spoke, the sadder he felt. Especially when he saw the screen full of photos of various artists, a certain someone's heart was like an old vinegar that had been around for more than 10 years. Su Yiyan was stunned when she saw his reply. She was inexplicably glad that she was not drinking water now. Otherwise, she would not be able to keep the table full of documents. Yan Yan who loves you the most in the world, the more you say, the more ridiculous it is. I'm not a goddess. How can so many people like me? Hu Chenhuan's eyes were slightly cold. He thought to himself, that's not necessarily true. At least, as far as I know, there is a blind man who is still thinking about my wife. Yan Yan who loves you the most in the world, besides, he already has a girlfriend. Aren't you afraid that his girlfriend will find out and come after you for being jealous? Chapter 875. Hu Chenhuan did not think of this and was stunned for a while before he came back to his senses. Yan Yan loves Hua the most in the world, he has a girlfriend. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, well, you know her too. She's the girl who delivered fruits to director Luo's house when I went to see him. Her name is Xia Ningxi, and she's also the scriptwriter of the costume drama that our company filmed before. Ning Chirue played a supporting role in that drama, and the two of them got to know each other after a while. It's said that they just confirmed their relationship not long ago and are now in the honeymoon period. When Hu Chenhuan saw that his wife was so detailed, he knew that he really thought too much. Just as he was wondering how to make up for his previous stupidity, he saw Su Yiyen send another message. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, are you still angry? Yan Yan loves you the most in the world. I'm not angry anymore. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, but I'm angry. JPG, Su Yiyen's sentence was accompanied by a cartoon picture of a bun face. Because of his anger, the bun face in the picture looked even rounder, making people want to poke it twice. Hu Chenhuan thought so and did so. Unfortunately, this picture was not holographic. No matter how he poked it, he could only poke the hard screen, which made his heart itch even more. He missed them, wanted to see them, and wanted to poke the little dimples on their faces with his own hands. Yan Yan loves you the most in the world, caress, then what can I do to make you not angry? As soon as Hu Chenhuan sent this message, Su Yiyen immediately replied. It was a somewhat familiar emoji, a cartoon character falling to the ground and a few words floated on the side. The baby fell down, he needs to be kissed, hugged, and raised high before he gets up. Hu Chenhuan was startled when he saw this picture, and the smile in his eyes deepened. After Su Yiyen posted the picture, he waited for a long time but did not receive a reply from Hu Chenhuan. Just as he was about to get up to see how the little girl was sleeping, he heard a ding-dong sound and a familiar sticker popped up. In the picture, a middle-aged man in his early 40s was hugging his 5 or 6-year-old daughter. He threw her up and caught her, kissing and hugging her. Pfft. Su Yiyen was unsurprisingly amused by the old cadre's emoji. She recalled the silly look on someone's face when she had just been reborn. She could not help but laugh and scold, idiot. The Yan Yan who loves you most in the world, come home early tonight and make something delicious for the big baby. It was followed by a high-definition photo of little Zhang Xingxing sleeping soundly with his fists clenched. Hu Chenhuan blushed slightly when she saw the words, big baby. She turned around and called Yu Zian. Let the Public Relations Department send a lawyer's letter to those who spread rumors about the relationship between Yao Yao and Ning Chirue. Okay, do you need them to apologize publicly? Hu Chenhuan frowned. She thought that everyone was busy envying her son, and basically no one mentioned this matter. If these people came out to apologize, wouldn't it attract everyone's attention again? No. Hu Chenhuan paused, and then seemed to think of something and added, ask for more money. Huh? Yu Zian did not understand what Hu Chenhuan meant for a moment. How much money could they get from this kind of reputation lawsuit? Raising a child is expensive. I have to save more money for our little Xingxing's milk powder. Otherwise, Yan Yan will be angry. Yu Zian was speechless. He understood now. Young master was simply showing off his love for the baby. Chapter 876. It had to be said that the little guy was indeed much more obedient and less worrisome than other children his age. After staying with Su Yiyen for a day at the company, other than crying when he was hungry or when he needed to pee, he could basically play happily by himself and didn't need anyone to deliberately accompany him. Of course, he didn't wake up much. After drinking milk and playing for a while, he would be in a daze again, so he basically didn't disturb Su Yiyen. On the other hand, Su Yiyen couldn't help but want to look at the child whenever she thought about how the child was not far away from her after finishing work. Time always passed very quickly when she looked at the child. She spent a short day leisurely sucking on the child, which was more addictive than any game. When it was 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Su Yiyen realized that she had been busy the whole day and had only finished 1/3 of her work. Her efficiency had greatly decreased. She simply threw the remaining 2/3 to Xia Junsheng and left early with the child. Xia Junsheng. He couldn't be angry, he couldn't be angry. After all, she wasn't alone and still had to take care of the child. Anyway, he had nothing to do at home, so working overtime was fine. Sigh, no, he was still angry. He didn't want to work overtime. Su Yiyen didn't know that her role as a boss meant that a certain someone who was willing to work hard without complaint had to work overtime tonight to achieve results. She didn't tell Hu Chenhuan to go home early for dinner on the spur of the moment. The first batch of medicinal herbs planted at the research institute would be officially sold tomorrow. The department manager in charge of sales wanted Su Yiyen to open a live broadcast before the official sale, as an advance publicity. Su Yiyen didn't have any objections to this and casually agreed. During this period of time, the baby was mostly taken care of by Uncle Zhang and the nanny. He missed the baby very much after not seeing him for the whole day. When Su Yiyen came back with the child, Uncle Zhang immediately took the stroller and happily took the little guy to drink milk. Su Yiyen turned around and went into the small kitchen to open the live broadcast. As early as 2 hours ago, Su Yiyen had posted a small preview to inform in advance the content of tonight's live broadcast. At this moment, there were quite a few people waiting in the live broadcast room. Almost half of the website's traffic was attracted to it. Hello everyone, I'm your host, Yan Yan. The content of today's live stream has already been previewed in the previous live stream. There are also some announcements in the live stream. Those who don't understand can take a look first. I won't say more. Let's get to the point. Today, I'm going to make 3 kinds of soup. The first is Hainan coconut chicken soup. The ingredients needed are coconut, chicken, red dates, walnuts, and so on. As Su Yiyen spoke, she quickly cut the coconut and chicken into pieces. The chicken pieces were first skinned with hot water. After that, he put the coconut chicken pieces, together with the red dates, walnuts, ginger slices, and other ingredients into the casserole. After the heat was brought to a boil, he lowered the heat to a simmer. Children's bodies are weak, so it's easy for them to be infected by parasites. The coconut meat and coconut juice have a certain insect repellent effect. It can repel roundworms and pinworms. When paired with the nutritious chicken, the brain and blood-nourishing walnuts and red dates, not only can it repel insects, but it can also strengthen the body. Children were young and weak. Without parents to look after them, it was not easy for them to develop good hygiene habits. It was indeed very easy for them to be infected with parasites, causing them to be weak and malnourished. There were some special insect repellents on the market, but children hated these bitter things. If it could cure diseases and nourish the body, it would naturally be best if they could eat delicious food that suited their taste. Chapter 877. Coconuts can be bought on the market. Red dates and walnuts will be officially sold tomorrow. Those who are interested can try to make it at home. Su Yiyen mentioned it casually and immediately started to prepare the second soup. Next, we'll make pepper stewed pork tripe. The main ingredients are pepper and pork tripe. The pepper will be officially sold tomorrow. Those who are interested, remember to buy it tomorrow. It could be said to be a coincidence if it was mentioned once, but it was mentioned twice in 2 short sentences. It was obviously a small advertisement. However, even though Su Yiyen was advertising in the live broadcast room, the attitude of the audience was relatively tolerant, but there was more or less a trace of resentment. I've confirmed it with my eyes. The host is indeed advertising. Sob sob sob, what advertising? If you don't advertise, you won't be able to catch the pre-sales. Who knows when the orders will be? Little Yan Yan, please don't advertise. Copper ball. What about those little dregs who said they wouldn't buy it? Why are there still so many people fighting with me? This is not scientific. They really won't buy it just because they said they won't buy it. Upstairs, you're too naive. You know, our host is the only host on the internet with more than 8 digits of real-time online viewers. It's enough to pull a few people together to fight for it, not to mention that the stock for the first episode is so small. Instead of asking for no one to fight with you, it's better to ask for more stock. Upstairs, there are already too many monks and too little gruel. Why do you still want to advertise? If you have the ability to advertise, you have the ability to increase sales. Sob sob sob, Su Yiyan didn't expect that her small advertisement would attract so many complaints. She felt helpless and funny. However, the problem of stock wasn't something she could solve. She could only pretend that she didn't see anything and focus on cooking. Pork tripe has the effect of dispersing coldness and relieving urinary tract pain. When paired with cold dispersing pepper, it has a certain relief effect on children who have weak spleen and stomach, weak bodies, and often catch cold and hiccup. The weather has been cold recently. When the babies sleep, they must cover their stomachs well. Otherwise, they will easily catch cold and hiccup. The children will suffer a lot. There's another thing to pay attention to. Children's stomachs are delicate. If the pork tripe isn't stewed, it will be very chewy and not suitable for digestion. That's why we have to stew it for a longer time until it's completely soft. That way, the soup will be thicker and easier for the child to absorb. Stewing pork tripe with pepper was actually very easy to make. All you had to do was to cut the pork tripe into strips and put it into the casserole with pepper for 2 hours to completely stew the pork tripe. Lastly, I'll make some insect-repellent food, steamed meat for the nobleman. I've never used Rangoon creeper in my live stream before. It's a new type of medicinal herb that can kill roundworms and nourish the spleen and stomach. However, it's okay to eat a few occasionally, but it's best not to eat too much. After all, killing too many insects can easily cause some adverse reactions to the body and affect the health of the body. Su Yiyan peeled off the shell of the Rangoon creeper and took out the meat inside. At the same time, he took out a large piece of lean pork meat. The Junzi Research Institute should have already planted the seeds. It is estimated that the second or third batch will be seen. Viewers who have babies or are preparing to have babies can pay attention to this. As soon as Su Yiyan's voice fell, a rainbow-colored notification flew across the live broadcast room. It was a familiar meteor shower. Everyone took a closer look and unsurprisingly saw a familiar ID. Congratulations to the host, Yen Yen, for receiving a luxurious villa *1 sent by a loyal viewer, not even for a day. The boundless universe, the starry sky, I still love you the most. Chapter 878. Before the audience could react, another notification flashed across the top of the live broadcast room, and a meteor shower started. Congratulations to the host, Yen Yen, for receiving a luxurious villa from Mountain Yoryung. There are millions of stars in the universe, but in my heart, you will always be the brightest one. The audience in the live broadcast room instantly became excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Here it comes, here it comes. The two richest people in the live broadcast room have started a reward battle. Let the host see who is the brightest one in the live broadcast room. The two of them caused quite a commotion in the live broadcast room. Su Yiyan looked up and saw it. He squinted his eyes and pulled out 2 big sharp kitchen knives from the rack. Thank you for your generous rewards, let us deal with this piece of lean meat. As he said that, the 2 kitchen knives touched, and with a clatter, he sharpened the knife and chopped the pork. After a while, the sound of chopping meat could be heard in the live broadcast room and kitchen. The audience in the live broadcast room was obviously frightened by Su Yiyan's chopping of meat. After a long time, a comment slowly floated by. Why can't I see the host's face, but somehow I can imagine the cold smile on the host's face. Coupled with the sound of chopping meat and the meat on the chopping board, the back of my neck is cold. Oh my god, it's so scary. Seeing this comment, many people gave it a like with deep understanding. Obviously, they had the same thought as him. At that moment, the 2 people in the live broadcast room took advantage of this delicate moment to reward the villa, Huichenhuan, Do Tianyi, so scary. They had no doubt that if they continued to reward in the live broadcast room like before, the meat on the chopping board would be theirs in the next second. With Su Yiyen's threat of chopping meat, the two of them knew when to stop. They sent a reward to prove that they had been there. After that, they were completely quiet and did not cause any more trouble. The audience was also able to watch the live broadcast properly and focus their attention on Su Yiyen's knife skills. The meat that the host chopped reminded me of the previous episode where the host made dumplings and buns. At that time, I felt that the meat filling was not that difficult to chop. Although the ingredients were expensive, it was not impossible to buy. I bought some back and made it myself, and then I cried. As soon as this comment was posted, it resonated with many people in the live broadcast room. It turned out that some things looked simple, but were really difficult to do. The things that Su Yiyen made in the live broadcast room, from the earliest fried fish to the later dumplings, buns, steamed dumplings, all kinds of cake baking, and ramen cooking. Everything looked very simple, but if you really learned how to make it, the finished product was often too horrible to look at. Many people had basically learned how to make soup after watching for so long. Furthermore, when making soup, the raw materials were basically cut automatically with the help of machines. Are you guys stupid? Don't you know that there's an automatic meat grinder? Chopping it yourself? If you don't have the skills of the host, why don't you just be a beginner? My baby is tired of drinking nutrient solutions and eating porridge is tasteless. He has been throwing a tantrum and refusing to eat for the past few days. His little face has lost a lot of weight. This meat patty looks very delicate. It should be a good supplement for the baby if it's crushed and softened. I've already placed an order. I'll start in a while. Chapter 879. Everyone was enlightened. That's right. If they couldn't do it, they could use other methods to do it. As long as they could eat delicious food in the end, it was fine. The streamer could do this because she was amazing. Noobs could only imitate the master's methods. They had to find a way that suited them. Dear upstairs, why didn't you say so earlier? I feel like I missed out on a billion QAQ. The audience member who was being complained also laughed out of anger. He directly replied with a sentence across the air. How would I know that you guys couldn't think of such a simple solution? I thought everyone would know. Supercilious, many of the noobs who were excluded. I suspect that you're implying that we're stupid, and we have evidence. In any case, this reminder gave many people who wanted to personally cook a new hope. That day, the number of orders for all kinds of cooking tools and ingredients skyrocketed. Not only were the old stocks in the hands of many merchants sold out, but they were also close to exploding due to the lack of supply. Su Yiyen probably didn't expect that a reminder from a certain audience member in the live broadcast room would indirectly promote the sales and development of gourmet-related industries. It was an unexpected surprise. While the audience was chatting and sighing, Su Yiyen had already chopped the whole piece of lean meat into digestible powder. She added the previously peeled junzi meat and seasoned it with some salt. Then, she pinched out pieces of meat patties for later use. The junzi meat patties are ready. Next, we just need to steam them. Now, let's cook a bowl of longan porridge. The main ingredients of longan porridge are longan meat and red dates. These two things are sweet, so the porridge will also have a sweet taste. Children like to eat it. Some children will easily wake up from their sleep at night and cry non-stop. Even the adults won't be able to sleep well. The longan meat in this porridge can calm the nerves. Paired with the red dates, it can alleviate the symptoms of children crying at night to a certain extent. Su Yiyen quickly removed the seeds from the longan and red dates and boiled them in the rice. If you don't like longan and red dates, you can cook lily porridge with lily and lotus seeds. Lily and lotus seeds are both medicinal herbs that can calm the mind. Moreover, they also have some fragrance and are very refreshing to eat. Friends who like to eat sweet things can add more brown sugar to enhance the taste. At this point, the things that had to be done for the live stream were basically done. However, Su Yiyen did not stop there. Alright, that's all for the baby for now. Next, I'm going to make 2 dishes for the big baby. When Su Yiyen said this, everyone was stunned. Big baby? Baby? Didn't the streamer just give birth to a baby? Where did these babies come from? Could it be that the host gave birth to twins? How is this possible? If they were twins, then the 2 babies should be the same age. Wouldn't it be fine to cook the same thing? Why did they have to cook separately? I'm guessing that some relatives brought their children over as guests. That child is slightly older than the host's child, so he's a big baby. Your logic is too far-fetched. Doing it separately might not necessarily mean that the children were of different ages. It might just be that the babies had different tastes. It's just that the big baby doesn't like the food that the little baby eats. Who knows what a child's tastes are? There's nothing strange about that. Little baby, big baby. With this kind of sentence, haven't you guys thought that the big baby might be the little baby's biological father? Chapter 880. The last conjecture shocked the audience in the live broadcast room, but some people's hearts had already begun to waver. Su Yiyen naturally saw this comment and secretly sighed at the audience's sharp eyes. However, she did not answer the question directly. Instead, she brought out a big pot of frog. The audience, who had been discussing who this big baby was instantly shocked and lost their voices. What the hell is this? Oh my god, it's too ugly. So scary, so scary, so scary. The host can't be thinking of eating this, right? Are you sure it's not a dark cuisine? Horrified face, although it's possible that the host can really turn something rotten into something magical, this is so ugly. I really refuse. Ugly rejection. Host, quickly put this thing away. I'm about to cry. Let me explain. This thing is called a toad. There was a saying in ancient Earth that a toad wants to eat swan meat. This is what it's talking about. It means that it's ugly and dares to covet beautiful food. It doesn't know what it's doing. Pfft, now that you mention it, I suddenly understand what it means. This thing is really ugly. Su Yiyen did not expect to see a screen full of toads when she looked up after processing the ingredients. She could not help but be confused. Toad? This is not a toad. Not a toad. But the picture in the ancient Earth Animal Encyclopedia is clearly very similar to this. Frog and toad do look alike, but they are really 2 different species. Toads have rough skin and many small lumps on their backs. These lumps contain poison, so they can't be eaten. Frog's skin is relatively smooth and there is no poison, so it can be eaten. Little cuties who can't tell the difference must not look for these ingredients for this one bite. Otherwise, if you eat the wrong thing, you will die. The stubbornness of a foodie was hard to imagine. It was better to clarify this kind of uncontrollable hidden danger in advance. Otherwise, if something really happened, Su Yiyen would inevitably have to bear some responsibility. Now that the host said this, I suddenly feel that this thing is not so hideous. At least it looks a little better than a toad. Su Yiyen saw that her audience began to comfort themselves without her saying anything, and even hypnotize themselves. She could not help but laugh. However, she was still very confident in this dry pot chicken. Although Froggy didn't look good, she believed that many people would like it when the finished product was made. Su Yiyen cut the large pot of frogs into pieces and marinated them with salt and cooking wine. Then, he temporarily placed the pot of frogs in a place where they could not be seen. Even after countless psychological preparations, the audience still couldn't accept it. They heaved a sigh of relief, thinking that they could finally watch the live broadcast properly and enjoy the food without suffering any visual impact. The next second, he saw Su Yiyen bring out a very ugly plate of rabbit heads. Everyone. F***ck. What was that? Why did he look so scary? Mama, did I go to the wrong room? Mo Fong, this is a rabbit head. Today, I'm going to make a spicy rabbit head for everyone. Rabbit head? A rabbit's head? It was the one covered in white fur that was as soft as a cloud. The rabbit that has been ranked first on the list of cute creatures for several years. Bunnies are so cute. Why eat bunnies? QAQ, when Su Yiyen saw this comment, she revealed an inexplicable evil smile. Bunnies are so cute. Should they be steamed or braised? Forget it, let's just make it spicy. Chapter 881. After saying that, she ignored the moaning in the live stream room and immediately opened the fire. She blanched the rabbit heads that were marinated in advance and filtered out the blood in them. After that, she opened the fire and used dried chili, spices, and various braised herbs to make a fragrant spicy gravy. Once the smell came out, the audience no longer cared about whether rabbits were cute or not. They just wanted to eat this fragrant gravy as soon as possible. It's here. The host's gravy. This smell is really fragrant. I'm almost drooling after smelling it. It's indeed quite similar, but it feels a little different from the ones that the host sold before. It's a little spicy. Is it because she added more chili? Spicy rabbit heads, spicy and spicy. Of course, she has to add more chili to make it taste good. After Su Yiyen finished talking, she soaked the plate of rabbit heads in the gravy. Many viewers in front of the screen couldn't help but salivate when they saw this. At this time, the longan porridge was almost done. There was a thick layer of rice paste on the surface. Su Yiyen put the rangoon patty that she had prepared earlier on and steamed it while she was cooking the porridge. After that, the first pot of frogs was almost done marinating. She rinsed it with water to wash away the blood and impurities on the surface. Then, she heated up the oil and added ginger, chili, and sauce until it was fragrant. She put the frogs in and stir-fried them. When the fragrance came out, she poured some fine wine along the side of the pot. As soon as the wine servant fell into the pot, it immediately mixed with the fragrant sauce below. With a whoosh, a fresh fragrance rushed out, causing the audience who had secretly made up their minds not to eat this dish to waver wildly. This smell, I suddenly feel like I can do it again. Hand, you can't. Brain, you can't. Mouth, you can. Before the dishes were finished, some people were already enjoying the fragrance. Unfortunately, Su Yiyen didn't have time to care about them. Seeing that the frogs were almost done, Su Yiyen quickly took another pot and chopped up her favorite potato slices, onion slices, and lettuce shreds. She stir-fried them together with the garlic slices for a while. After stir-frying, he poured it into the pot of frogs and stir-fried it a few times to mix the meat and vegetables together. Then, he turned off the fire and started cooking. In an instant, a large pot of fragrant dried pot frogs was placed right in front of everyone's eyes. The strong aroma mixed with the billowing white smoke kept drilling into everyone's noses, making them so hungry that they almost drooled. I can't take it anymore. If I die, so be it. I'll eat it first. You guys can do whatever you want. Some of the people who were still hesitating because of the frog's appearance couldn't hold back under the assault of the fragrance. They all stretched out their evil claws toward the pot of devil fruit. In the end, the moment he entered, he couldn't stop. The pheasant meat was tender, fragrant, and spicy. It didn't have the expected bitter and fishy smell. It was extremely fresh. Sob sob sob, I was wrong, I was wrong. I shouldn't have doubted the host's choice. Although this thing is ugly, the meat is really tender. It's tender, fragrant, and spicy. The more you eat it, the more addictive it is. Damn! Who would have thought that such an ugly thing would be so delicious? I declare that from today onwards, this dish will be my favorite. Whatever spicy boiled fish or crayfish will have to stand aside. The few of you who spammed the screen are too much. A big pot of food can't even stop your mouths. You guys are eating it, but you still call it ugly. Is there any justice in this? Frogs, didn't you say you wouldn't eat me if I was ugly? Diners are all liars. They're all pig trotters. It's too difficult for me. Chapter 882. Su Yiyan glanced at the screen and confirmed that most people were already savoring the frogs. She smiled and started to prepare the last dish, duck blood curd. It wasn't difficult to make duck blood curd, but it required a certain amount of patience and care. There were more ingredients in this dish. The processing method of each ingredient, the timing of adding them, and the heat needed to be paid attention to. Su Yiyan first dipped the tripe, duck blood, and eel in water. Then, she added chili powder, ginger slices, and scallions to make it fragrant. She added the bean paste and stock to make the soup base. Bean sprouts, daylilies, wood ears, lettuce, and other vegetables were easy to cook. Once they were cooked, they had to be taken out immediately. Otherwise, the taste would deteriorate if they were cooked for too long. It was the same for the tripe. The duck blood and eel needed to be cooked in the soup pot first. The tripe only needed to be boiled for a while before it was ready to be served. This kind of tripe was crispy and tender, and the taste was excellent. Finally, she drizzled red-hot pepper oil and poured it into the sole, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Some people didn't even have time to climb out of their bowls of frogs and fell into the pot of duck blood curd. They were eating from their bowls while looking at the pot. When the duck blood curd was ready to be served, the rabbit head that was soaked in the brine was almost done with the juice. She took it out of the brine and added the pepper and chili powder to stir-fry until the rabbit head was fully coated in the chili oil. The audience in the live stream only felt that they had just eaten a few tender frogs when two more red and fragrant dishes appeared in front of them. Their eyes were wide open. After eating the soft and sticky meat, spicy and fragrant rabbit head, the people who were originally shouting, "Bunny is so cute, why do you want to eat bunny?" collectively changed their words to, "Bunny is so cute, don't let it go." Rabbit, who instantly became the public enemy and the future rations of countless people. Humans are really big pig trotters. While the group of people was busy tasting the three spicy dishes, the soup, meat pancakes, and sweet porridge that were made before were cooked one after another. Although it was just a virtual tasting, Wu Chenhuan's company's virtual simulator had a very good taste effect. Even if it was just a taste, after tasting three spicy dishes in one go, many of the audience members felt their mouths burning. Drinking some porridge soup was just enough to relieve the heat. After everyone recovered from their shock, they finally realized what was going on and focused their attention on the three spicy dishes prepared by Su Yiyan. Did anyone notice that the three dishes that the streamer made for the big baby are all spicy, and they are super insanely spicy? I noticed it too. Children definitely can't handle this level of spiciness. I have a guess too, me too. A group of people began to spam the bullet screen with some specious words, making it seem like an underground organization was communicating with each other. In the end, someone couldn't stand the crowd's deliberate mystification and asked directly, "What kind of riddle are you playing? If you have something to say, just say it. Don't be so sarcastic." Ha 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 ha, I can't hold it in anymore. Her husband was a big baby. Look, the three dishes are bright red, and they are all spicy. Children can't handle so much spicy food, so the big baby can only be an adult. And if I remember correctly, the streamer's husband likes strong flavors. The crayfish and spicy boiled fish from before were all prepared for him. Today's three dishes must be for him too. It's so sour. Chapter 883. Su Yiyan had never publicly said that her husband liked to eat spicy food, but the audience who had been watching her live broadcast for so long were not stupid. They knew that Hu Chenhuan would watch her live broadcast on time with the other audience members. Every time Su Yiyan made delicious food for him, she would generously say, "For my husband." This was also the main reason why the group of single people in the live broadcast room would cry out from time to time that they had eaten dog food and were being abused like sour lemons. After being force-fed dog food several times, some of the more attentive audience members naturally figured out Hu Chenhuan's preferences from Su Yiyan's inadvertent disclosure. Now that they saw these 3 dishes, their mood became subtle. How was this delicious food? It was clearly a big bowl of dog food. Su Yiyan really did not realize that her audience members were so clever before this. The corners of her mouth were slightly raised, but she still did not explain. As usual, one lucky audience member will be given a small sample of the same dish. Those who can't get it don't have to be disappointed. Seasonings such as chili will be officially sold tomorrow. There will be more than the other dishes. It's first come, first served. Su Yiyan made 3 spicy dishes today. First, she took into account that Hu Chenhuan had accompanied her to eat confinement meals during this period of time. He had not eaten food that suited his taste for a long time. Today, she could help him improve his diet. On the other hand, it was because most of the seasonings such as chili, pepper, and the like were mostly annual. They were easier to grow than other Chinese medicinal herbs, and the production was also larger. In the first phase of the sale tomorrow, the total sales of chili would account for the majority. In the future, chili would probably be the most popular. After all, there were many people in the world who liked to eat spicy food. Not to mention Hu Chenhuan, the Su family members also liked spicy food. It was necessary to focus on promoting it. When the audience in the live broadcast room heard Su Yiyan's words, their eyes lit up. Just as Su Yiyan said, there were many people who liked to eat spicy food. But other than the research institute, only Su Yiyan had chili. They had tasted it in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room. Even if they went to a high-end restaurant and ordered the spiciest food, they always felt that something was missing. Now that Su Yiyan mentioned it, the audience's inexplicable pessimism that a large number of people would compete with them was suddenly ignited. Although there were many strong competitors, it was not necessarily impossible for them to get it. It was time to show their hand speed of many years of being single. Su Yiyan finished the lucky draw and turned off the live broadcast room. As soon as she walked out of the kitchen, she ran into Hu Chenhuan, who had hurriedly come back from outside. "You're back. The food is ready. Eat it while it's hot. It won't taste good when it's cold." Hu Chenhuan glanced at the frog in her hand and nodded reservedly. When he watched the live stream just now, he knew that these things were made for him, so he didn't fight with the audience who hadn't seen the world for themselves. Now that she smelled the fragrance coming from the pot and thought of the comments the audience made in the live broadcast room, Hu Chenhuan suddenly felt a little hungry. When the food was on the table, Uncle Zhang finally came back with the little guy, who had eaten and drunk to his heart's content. He had just drunk milk, but the little guy cried out as soon as he got close to the table. It was obvious that he wanted to eat after smelling the fragrance of the food. Su Yiyan was also interested when she saw this. She grabbed the little chubby hand that was waving around and laughed. "Do you want to eat? Do you want to eat this?" "Ah ah, ah ah." Little Xingxing's big watery eyes stared at the small piece of meat patty in the chopsticks. His little mouth squirmed a few times, as if he was swallowing. "You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.